We'll get to that, and we'll hear from Steve Sarkisian as well, get everybody's thoughts about Texas winning a big game, huge game. And I got a question for the panel here. But the heartbeat of this thing, you on the Specs text line. So please do hit us up, 512-337-3776. Also, you can hit us up via Twitter. Harge is at Hardball Harge. Patrick Davis at It's Patrick Davis, and I'm at Rod Babers in the Twitterverse. Let's not waste any time, gentlemen. Let's get right to it because I'm excited to talk some sports today, man. We got so much stuff to get to. We won't get to all of it, I guarantee. I want to get to some more NFL stuff, some college football stuff, but so much happening right here close to home. So let's start with the Longhorns and their big win over K-State. And let me just ask you this, Hard, start things off. Is this the signature win? Is this the first signature win for Sark?
Well, I would say yes, and the reason being because it was a ranked team, it was on the road, and you pretty much dominated the game from start to finish. We were talking on the pregame. What do we expect from Texas?
You led the game from start to finish. I don't know if you dominated.
Well, that's fair. I'm talking about you dominated the scoreboard. You dominated the scoreboard.
In the first half, you dominated.
Yes.
First half was
quick.
domination.
It was beautiful.
Like, that was domination. But then the third quarter, I don't know if it was,
that's very fair. That's very fair.
Only 3 points in the second.
But
your point, I agree with your point. I don't ever thought it was in doubt for Texas. I actually never, for one of the first times in a long time watching the game, I never doubted Texas would win the game from start to finish. So that's the feeling you had, and that's the same feeling I had.
Yeah, because we were sitting there looking at some of the plays that were being called. We were looking at the way the defense was flying around.
Sark used that bye week, man. You saw it. He was especially crafty.
He was ready for it.
And we actually,
what I say, I love to see a traditional screen. I got one. I got one. I got it early. Nice it was a nice one.
It was a nice one.
That's right. Big Kelvin Banks out there doing his thing, running down the field. I mean, this was a beautiful start to the game.
Man.
And then you saw,
no doubt,
whenever that team got behind, it was easy for you to pin your ears back and go after the quarterback because they were trying to fight to get back into the game. You look at what the defensive line, Keandre Coburn, getting in the backfield, T'Vondre Sweat, run gap integrity. They were doing a really good job, especially when you thought about how Deuce was moving around in the backfield. But the one thing that I told you on Saturday before we left, I said Texas had not given up 100 yards on the ground
you did bring
to
up that
a
low
rusher.
nugget. Yeah.
And then again, I went back and looked. Deuce was having his way a little bit. We were like, here he go. This man is doing his thing. But they shut him down. He ended up with only 73 yards.
I think that's where we should start, guys. Yeah. I mean, you're talking about the K-State rushing offense, and they started Adrian Martinez.
Yes, they did.
So you and I were having this discussion the entire week about who they should start, and by Friday and Saturday in the pregame, I said based on all my analysis and watching film, I thought it would be Will Howard. And it's crazy because I started out thinking, you got to go Adrian Martinez. Yeah. And then as I did more, just more film watching and breaking it down, well, also based on, and this is the question I asked you. I said, okay, well, I don't know if it was a question, more just a, kind of a hypothetical out there that based on who Chris Kleiman and Colin Klein chose to be the starting quarterback, that would let you know where they thought Texas was weakest on defense and where they could beat them.
Correct.
And much to my surprise, Colin Klein and Chris Kleiman thought that the running game was the way to beat Texas.
They didn't see what we saw from that defensive line, right? They didn't see with that running game with that D-line. Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
That's the most consistent part of the Texas defense has been the rush defense, number one, but the interior, and really, I will say this, the central nervous system of the defense, because I'll throw Jalen Ford in there too, because he's just been a monster,
right?
Especially when it comes to rush defense. But that interior D-line, man, they went into that game leading college football in pressures,
right?
But aside from pressures, they've been one of the best, if not the best, rush defense in the Big 12 and one of the best in the country. And if you're going to beat Texas, that was not the way to go. I thought it was probably a bad, initial decision for them to go with Adrian Martinez over Will Howard, because even Adrian Martinez, what did he do in the passing game?
Not very much.
He did well in that's where he did his damage.
Yeah.
I mean, right there, what did I say? What's about 0 to 19 yards between the numbers?
That's the beautiful part.
He was 16 of 20 for 241 yards. One touchdown, got the one pick, though.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to Jalen Ford, because that play was huge, because Texas got a chance to score right before the half, too. So I think the formula is simple for Texas when they're, at least this year, when they're trying to win tough games on the road. And trust me, K-State, not an easy place to win. I had to win there.
No, not at all.
It ain't never pretty. Just get the dub and get home.
Yeah, just take it and let's go.
Get the dub and get to the the house.
Yep.
So I'm glad they did. That was a growth moment for this team. That huge strides in terms of maturity, and you saw the leadership too. Guys like Keandre Coburn, guys like Jalen Ford, stepping up and making a play when it needs to be made. Not waiting on somebody else to make a play.
Yep.
No, you go make the play. All right. Quit waiting on somebody else to make the play. You should want that moment. You should relish that moment, and Keandre Coburn did. Jalen Ford did as well. But
Jalen Ford with double-digit tackles again.
He might be.
He could be the defensive player of the year. No doubt.
I don't want to.
When you look at his numbers,
the totality of it.
Yeah, when you look at think about
very
it.
Impressive.
You saw him start the season off with nothing on the stat sheet.
He actually had his worst game of the season versus ULM.
Right.
He had 3 missed tackles in that game, and that was his worst game of the year.
And then after that, got to work and continued to
Since
grind.
then, he's arguably the best defensive player on the team.
Absolutely.
Crazy.
Absolutely. And not only on the team, in the conference. He's been making plays all over. The entire game, you hear his name more than you hear anybody else's.
He's around the football, man.
All the time.
Yeah. No, he's
recovering the fumble, getting a pick.
Yeah.
Keandre Coburn causing the fumble, big-time play in a big-time situation, showed up and got it.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, let's hear from Steve Sarkisian in the post game after this big win versus K-State, talking about getting a huge road win. Well, for Sark, it's only his second true road win. That's big. And, both against Purple Kryptonite.
Huh.
Strangely enough.
Think about that.
Here's Sark in the post game. All right, that's Sark talking about. I'm glad that he brought up these second half woes.
Thank you.
It's a dub, so we got to talk about the growth first
agree.
The positive, which this team found a way to win the game, even though for a while there it looked like, oh no, we might be reliving a Groundhog Day situation with Texas. Nope, they found a way to change the narrative, so we got to give him a ton of credit for that.
Mm-hmm.
And I will say this too for Sark, he rode Bijan. I mean, this is he and I had to put Bijan on it. He slathered that game plan in Bijan, and I went back and looked. So they've had 2 road wins, right? And I don't know, definitely not coincidence, but the 2 road wins are also the only 2 games where Bijan has carried the ball at least 30 times since he's been a Longhorn too. So it seems like the blueprint to win on the road is you got to feed the beast. You got to give it to Bijan. He's got to become your workhorse on the road. And it can't be just the running game. It's got to be him. He's the special one. Yeah. Yes, I love Rojo. Yes, I love Keelan Robinson and all those guys. But he is extremely special. I looked at the numbers for the 2 games that Sark has won on the road for Bijan. I believe he has 69 total touches.
Yep.
Nice. For 481 yards, which equals about 6.9 yards per touch in the 2 road victories. That is definitely the route to win, or the path to victory for Steve Sarkisian on the road. And with a young quarterback, and we'll get to Quinn, you take a lot of the burden off of his shoulders when you get Bijan in a groove and you get Bijan going.
Yeah, and we've been talking about this for a while. When you have this type of player, you need to use him to the best of his abilities. And he's shown that he can do a lot of different things on the football field. Whether he's coming out of the backfield and you're throwing a swing pass, the wheel route, you try to hit him on a wheel route, he's made that play this year. You've also lined him up at wide receiver, had him running a post. He got the ball, made the play. He's arguably has some of the best hands on the team when you start looking at how he makes those catches. But then you also got to look at what's going on with him in the run game and the blocking. He got better. He's getting better in the pass protection game. Quinn's throw on one of the big throws down the sideline, he picked up a blitz. And before, he was having problems with that. Now he's getting better and being a complete back. You want to win the game with your special players. How about just letting him go and let him keep carrying the rock? If he's ready for it, remember, I think it was a couple weeks ago when he was like, man, I'm sore. Because he had the ball so many times, but there was a victory involved in that. So he's going to go back and do it again and can bounce back and do it one more time.
That's definitely a way to do it when you're on the road.
Yeah.
He was a big part of the first half offense, which Texas was dominant. Remember, their first three possessions, they averaged 8.5 yards per play. Their first three possessions. Here's Sark talking about that first half offense, which essentially won them the game. They only got 3 points in the second half, but they were so dominant on offense in the first half that it was enough of a cushion for them to hold on for the win. Yeah, that set them back. I believe they had, it was like 3 of the 5 drives in the second half kind of had one of those penalties. They faced 1st and 15 because of a false start on 3 of their 5 second half drives.
Yeah.
So.
And that's discipline. That's not being prepared. And when you get false starts, those are the ones that gives you heartache. It's not like you were holding or anything like that. That means that you were trying to anticipate the snap count instead of waiting for the snap count to hold your water, so to speak. But I thought in the very first half, the first quarter, we were sitting there watching this, and they scored on 8 plays, 75 yards. 8 plays, 75 yards. 8 plays, 75 yards on their first 3 possessions. They scored.
Nasty.
Right.
That script was nasty.
Right.
Man.
And then we had the fumble, which was a bad play right there, obviously.
But you know what? That's some of the Rojo fumble.
Yeah.
The Rojo fumble, honestly, both of those plays, they were better defensive plays than they were just a lack of concentration. Yeah, you got to know somebody's coming up behind you like that. But did you watch the young man and how he punched it out?
Oh, yeah.
He timed it out perfectly.
Because he knew the rotation of the run.
He had to wait till the ball got to its highest point with Rojo carrying it before he decided to punch it out. If he'd have tried to punch it out with Rojo having the ball at its lowest point in his running motion, he wouldn't have been able to knock it out. He timed it out perfectly. He took like 3 steps timing out
like
the
that
punch.
One about to hit him in the head. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm about to get you.
It was that was just a great. It was obviously Rojo. You can't fumble the football. But remember, like the Bijan fumble in the Tech game.
Oh yeah,
that was more just a great play. That's the only time all year long we've seen Bijan get tackled 1-on-1.
Right.
Only time. I think Bijan was surprised. He's like, nobody does this. What the hell?
Right.
And he threw the ball like, well, nobody does this. It's just it never. Sometimes you got to give the defensive guy credit.
Absolutely.
Even like that X-Man fumble. Man, that dude came in there and
hustling.
just mollywopped the ball.
You know,
like,
head on the ball.
In a day and age where you can get penalized just for hitting the guy too hard, he put helmet on the football. Every now and then, man, get a defense got some credit. It's hard to play defense these days.
Yeah, but you still can't fumble. You know what I'm saying? That was a great play. You know how it goes.
Every now and then,
you gotta be
defensive
like,
guy just makes a hell of a play, man. I'm a defensive guy, and that was a hell of a play.
Well, and I also heard Sark talk about, I'm not worried. I don't think Bijan, or not Bijan, but I don't think Rojo will be walking around school holding a football.
No.
It's one of those things.
Those guys don't have a habit of fumbling.
Right,
like
that's not
it's
who
so
they
rare
are.
To see them fumble.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Those are the ones you want to have the ball in their hands.
No
You want that ball to them all the time. But the way that he had that first half scripted and the things that Texas was able to do, that was impressive. But the main thing, and I remember Sark saying this the other day, sometimes you got to be able to see the elephant in the room and address it. And the addressing is the second half. You still have those woes of where it seems, and that's just me, it seems like the other teams have made adjustments to stopping you, but you haven't made an adjustment to overcome. Now, we can also say, well, they were going to score a touchdown and they ended up fumbling. They were going to do this, and there was a play that happened. Yes, I get that. I totally understand that. But a team like Texas cannot continue to get to these fast starts and just hold on
Yeah.
for the victory.
No, you're right. Yeah, that's not enough.
know,
it's
that's-
not enough, and I agree, especially going up against TCU, who is
That's how they get
notoriously
their
a
business.
second half
Yeah.
team. I mean, they've been down almost most of the Big 12 games.
I was
They've
gonna
been
say,
down
almost every
double
game.
digits.
Yeah.
And it's no big thing for them because they got a grit, a lot of fortitude, and they're a 4-quarter team. And
Yep.
Texas has not proven yet it's a 4-quarter team. Now, that's growth on the road, being
Correct.
able to win that game because your defense found a way to make plays. Very similar to when you beat Iowa State, where you kind of rode Bijan in the running game, Rojo too, and then found a way defensively. Anthony Cook,
Yep.
Jalen Ford to make enough plays on defense. That's what they did in this game. That's what they were unable to do in the Oklahoma State game.
Correct.
Right? Couldn't
Correct.
do that. So
Right.
that to me, and this is one of the better defenses in the Big 12 too. And Bijan, he made him look bad.
Yeah,
Like, it was unbelievable. That put him back into at least the Heisman conversation.
Absolutely.
And if now this week we'll see if
This
he
is a
can,
big week for him.
kind of
This is a
vault
huge
himself
week.
into being a front runner.
Yeah, this is a huge week for everyone that's involved. Obviously, you talked about game day, but his campaign for who he is and what he's been able to do, and it's so smooth. We were standing next to each other when he made that jump cut in the hole, just out of nowhere, and then jumped over a guy that was trying to swipe his feet and kept his balance and outran him. Now, we do have to figure out, Bijan, you got caught twice, man. Somebody ran you down.
I think he was
man.
tired.
Yeah, that is true
I
because he
think
did
was
have
just
a bunch of carries.
He hadn't had this many carries in a long
Yeah,
time. I think
yeah.
he was just juiced.
Yeah.
It really was. I think he was just tired. But you're right. Hey, man, you
Hey.
still gonna talk bad
Yeah,
about you in the
yeah,
locker
exactly.
room.
Oh, they waiting on you to come in that
go
locker
the film
room.
and be like, you got caught from behind by this
Yeah.
dude?
Yeah, he got you, bro?
Yeah, because he was
got
gone.
you? Yeah.
That toss to
Oh,
the short,
man.
to the boundary
Yes.
side there looked like he was gone to the house. And I think he just ran out of juice.
Yeah.
I mean, this is his second 30-plus carry game of his career. So he hadn't had this many touches, and I haven't looked at the amount of snaps that he played, but probably hadn't had this many snaps as well. But Bijan, you put some Bijan on it. That's my 2022 motto. It's Sark's too now. You can't go wrong with that, man. And there's a good chance that he's not here next season.
Right.
So don't.
What? Hey, don't. Yeah.
don't have the Tom Herman situation. And I'm not saying he's going to be like Tom Herman,
no.
but where you end up regretting not giving the football
Not putting
to
some
him enough.
Bijan on it.
Yeah, not putting enough Bijan on it.
Yeah.
Slather that thing in Bijan. It's all good.
I love it.
Okay, so the biggest issue Longhorn fans want to complain about during the game, and there's a lot, obviously, that we'll get to about how well this team played. It's the second half woes and the second half issues. Even Sark talked about it. Can we get this cut here, Patrick? Here is Sark from today's presser. The Monday availability. You heard it live right here on 104.9 The Horn at 11-ish. I'm not sure. Was it on time today?
He was a little bit after 11, but he was closer than what we expected.
Hey, you get the dub.
He was pretty close.
He was pretty close.
You come in when you
Yeah.
want
Hey,
to, Sark.
hey, I think the rain helped out too. It started to rain a little bit, so practice gets called a couple
That's
minutes
true.
early because of the rain.
Don't be rushing Sark out of practice, though. Y'all leave that man alone.
Keep that work going.
Keep that work going,
Yeah,
man.
get
it
that
in.
work.
Here is Sark talking about the second half issues that Texas has faced in the last few games. All right, yeah. I mean, that's a lot of people want to know what's going on with the second half offense. My theory, and I haven't, I charted the game, but I haven't gone back and actually calculated up all the stuff. So I'll actually do that during the break, and I probably can give it to you later on in the show. But my theory has always been, Harge, and I've been consistent on this even since last year, studying Sark's offense, psychoanalyzing Sark, the play caller. His offense is, and when you break it down into its most rudimentary form, it's just a bunch of force multipliers, cheat codes, and conceptual signatures that he just throws into a gumbo. All right.
Right.
And it's so much that it overloads the kind of the circuitry, the processing unit really of the defense. And that's why you end up guys being wide open, because he throws the pre-snap motion at you, then throws the bunch formation, condensed sets at you, combined with, it's an RPO-based offense. And he also has these sometimes real funky route concepts and route combinations that are really cool. Loves misdirection. His formations and personnel packages are becoming more diverse too, because now he's using more multi-back sets more so than any other time in his career as a play caller. He probably should use more empty, but he throws some empty formation there. But you get my point. It's a cocktail of conceptual signatures, a bunch of stuff that he throws in there at one time. And what I've noticed, just tracking every individual one, whether it be a personnel package or whether it's a formation or whether it's just a concept, targets to motion, different things, pre-snap motion rate, all that kind of stuff, I see lower rates of those in the second half compared to the first half. And I think those conceptual signatures and cheat codes are what make his offense special. And when he stops combining those and he stops putting them in such unorthodox, kind of weird, obtuse combinations together, when he stops doing that and the offense, and even to your eyes, it probably looks a lot simpler. It looks a lot more rudimentary, all right? It looks a lot more basic. And that's because he has less of his conceptual signatures in the offense. Having tracked it for the K-State game, just on my eye test alone and watching the game, I guarantee you most of those cheat codes I talk about and that I track, you'll have fewer of those in the second half compared to the first half.
Yeah,
that was the case last season, all last season.
But that's the question that I have when we're talking about this. Why are all those so good in the first half, but they can adjust to them in the second half?
Well, because he's got a script that he's all week long. He's come up with these really creative concepts, and he knows how to implement them, how to execute them. That's different because then you get to a freestyle, improvised set in the second half where, you just got to adjust to or counter what their adjustments are, and that's where Sark fails to be able to win the chess match within the game. Doesn't mean he's always going to lose, but he's always going to lose that chess match within the game, which means you always have a surge from the other team in the second half because they're making better adjustments than Texas is making. But Texas wins the game plan and preparation battle more oftentimes than not.
100%.
Which means during the week, Texas work during the week is better than their opponent, but they're still the 2 or 3 quarters of the chess match within the game that you also have to win.
Yeah, and that's the part that fans are looking at. That's why fans are trying to figure out what is going on. I mean, you giving us the numbers and you talked about a lot of these things, but there still has to be something that can be done to have the same energy, so to speak, in the second half. I know we talked about it before and we've given all these different answers, but what can be done to create that type of mindset where I can adjust to what the defense has adjusted to me with? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's like, why is it so hard? Why does it seem like it's so difficult by the naked eye? I guess that's where it is.
Yeah, because, well, like I said, I think Sark shines as, and this is why I think he's an elite coordinator and a play designer. As a play caller, he's great, he's awesome, but I don't know necessarily I'd call him elite because a lot of play calling is the chess match within the game, being able to win the battle of adjustment. So, and I think at times he struggles with that, but that's he's still growing as a play caller and as a coach. But he is a really brilliant offensive mind. Yeah. Doesn't mean you're a great play caller though.
Facts. That's what I'm saying. It's like it just. So that's why I'm asking.
But he can evolve into that. Right. But I think right now my suggestion would simply be, why less of these things that make your offense so unique?
Right, that's my point.
So why instead of less of those conceptual signatures and force multipliers, let's try just more of all of them. Let's try higher rates of play action pass and pre-snap motion and bunch formations and condensed sets and multi-back sets and 6 O-line packages. Let's just try more of everything.
Right.
Of everything. Go higher rates of everything than you did in the first half. Track it and go higher. And I think, honestly, that will solve a lot of the problems because, to me, the offense just is more basic in the second half. And I think a lot of it is it's been stripped down by the adjustments of the defense.
And I couldn't agree more.
Right?
But some of the things, the main thing that I'm looking at is, why are we not running more screens? You had great play call.
Oh, great.
And then we didn't get another one. You know what I'm saying? Not to Bijan.
No.
That's what I'm saying. So, I mean, there's so many things, and you had success. The linemen, sometimes the linemen love that kind of stuff. They're like, I get to pull and go rip somebody's head off and give me a pancake out here. Call that. Call that for me. I just think, especially when we had the 9 box. They had 9 men in the box, and we were still trying to run it. Why not run that screen?
Well, yeah.
Everybody's up the field.
It's true, but he obviously hasn't given Quinn the ability to check audible on his own.
Yeah.
I think if he did, I mean, that's obvious. You look at that, you're like, well,
we can do this, man. I got some one-on-one over there.
That's anything. I mean, that's a simple route.
Throw it up and let him go get it.
Pretty much. And I just don't think he's given him that, that freedom yet. And I understand that. But, we can't have it both ways. I'm not
I agreed.
I'm talking for fans, too. I'm not going to complain about Sark winning a game by being somewhat conservative and running the football. Mm-hmm. And then last week on the road, same circumstance, everybody's saying, hey, man, you need to just run the football and put more Bijan on it. Yep. And I think he did that. Now, yes, that is somewhat of a cop-out for him as a play caller, because if you're a brilliant play caller, hey, man, there are other ways for you to utilize Bijan, too, rather than just handing him off the football in the traditional way, as you just brought up as well. And that goes back to him getting too conservative in his play calling,
right,
and going to that shell. So
right.
It's
I mean, look,
at this point, that's
we got a dub.
Exactly. We got a dub. You know what I mean? So I'm not gonna complain about it too much, but that's who Sark is right now. But he understands it. He knows what it is.
Yeah, he talked about it. I was glad to hear. I'm glad to hear him take the ownership of it as well. And I mean, Sark, like he said, I see the elephant in the room, and so I try to address the elephant, and that is the elephant in the room. The second half of games where you're not generating as many points. Yeah. But okay,
I know.
It makes you long for some more, right?
No, it does. It's like I'm with you. I don't really understand it either. But basically, what I've broken it down is I think Sark should, number one, go to Gary Patterson, ask him to reverse engineer every game plan, give you his detailed adjustment that he would make player to player, level to level of the defense, and then you come up with counters in it, like in advance of the game, and then have those counters ready to go, because that's probably what your opponent's going to do, because Gary Patterson is one of the best defensive minds out there. Or script your first 25 plays, see your first 20. And I think what you said, he scored 3 touchdowns in the first 25 plays in this game.
8 plays, 75 yards for all 3 touchdowns. 8 plays, 75 yards.
Script those plays. You practice them all week. Everybody knows them. Let Kyle Flood or Brendan Marion call those plays. And then you, while that's happening, be making your adjustments at that time to what they're doing, dissecting what they're doing, and almost coming up with a second half script.
Yep.
But you need to come up with it in game, like during that time.
Beautiful.
And then you can take over the play calling, or you can veto things and say, hey, guys, I'm taking over right now. I don't like that, what just happened here. I don't like that series. You can always do that. But then you'll give yourself basically a quarter almost to almost come up with game plans in game to see what they're doing. You already know what they're doing.
I'm with you.
So, I don't know. You got to come up with some creative stuff.
Yeah, believe
Be creative.
That. He
knows it too.
Please get creative.
All right, we'll come back. We'll get into the Astros winning the World Series. Get back to the Longhorns with a big win on the road at K-State right here on Ball Don't Lie on 104.9 The Horn.
Mike Harge here for Nexivo Naturals. Today's world provides all kinds of stressful situations. I was talking to a friend of mine yesterday, and she was talking about how she has had trouble going to sleep. We're sitting at the table, pulled up Nexivo, NEXTEVO.com, and she ordered some stuff to make sure that she can get some help with her stress. You can get the better night's sleep right now with the Triple Action CBD sleep product. It helps you right away. It's fast-acting. It calms your mind. They have also added fast-acting melatonin to get you to sleep fast, but it also has a controlled release melatonin so you can sleep longer and wake up refreshed. That was one of the main questions that she asked. Oh, do you seem sluggish when you wake up? Nope. This is the only product that has been able to blend all 3 of those ingredients. I can't tell you how much I enjoy it. It helps me get to sleep faster, and it's in a gummy form. You can get it easily at Nexivo.com. That's NEXTEVO.com. Use the promo code HORN.
All right, welcome back to Ball Don't Lie, a Smooth Soul Monday edition of Ball Don't Lie. Initially, my man Patrick was thinking he'd have to soothe the tortured soul of sports fans who were sad and down after their team took an L over the weekend. Well, Longhorns did not take an L. All right, they got the dub over the weekend, and also the Astros. Go Stros! Not only got the dub, they got the championship. They got the ring. They got the gold. They got what matters most. Yeah. And the Astros celebrated their second World Series in the last 6 years. Does it make it dynastic, Harge?
Hey,
are we dropping that word?
We definitely putting some dynastic in it. Dynasty. Because they was turned up in H-Town. I mean, you sit here and look at what they've done over the last few years. It's hard for you not to believe of them as that type of team. It's hard for you not to believe of them as a dynastic type. Not very many people can get to the World Series as many times as they have, and they've won it. They've been the representation of the American League for 6 of these things. Mm-hmm. That's not normal.
Yeah.
That's that. Even when the Atlanta Braves were winning, they weren't getting to the World Series all the time like they were. That was the representation. And you look at what this bullpen did. Yeah. It was the lowest bullpen ERA in postseason history.
That's
0.83.
That's impressive.
So there were so many different moving parts in this deal.
Lowest opposing batting average too.
Yeah, they were.
Postseason history.
Yeah, they were dealing. They were dealing on them.
That's so the unsung hero.
Yeah, you sit here and you look at what they did, and even during that game where Verlander wasn't very good at that first game, the bullpen wasn't the problem.
No,
the bullpen kept everything on lock, and they continued to do it. Every time Dusty would go to them, put them in a situation, those guys were battle tested. And the funny thing is, when you look at the roster and what is happening and why it has happened this way, Lance McCullers, Valdez, Javier, Garcia, Urquidy, Brown, Neris, Presley, Abreu, and Stanek all are coming back next year again.
Yeah.
And then that's all in the pitching staff. But then you look at the position players, Altuve, Pena, Bregman, Alvarez, McCormick, Tucker, Maldonado, Dubon, and Hensley all are returning. So you have depth, and that goes back to your part. Is this more of a dynasty type of thing? Yeah, because most of these players that I just named off, they're homegrown too.
And they're not done.
And they're not done. They're young. And they got them on good contracts.
Yeah, you got Pena.
They got them on good contracts.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
Well,
you got a rookie.
He's 25 years old, and he's the first rookie position player to ever win ALCS MVP and World Series MVP.
Yes.
It's your boy. I mean, you said we had nothing to worry about.
Told you right off the jump.
You did, and, man, I had no idea that this guy was going to end up being this good.
Now, I didn't think he was going to be this. I knew he was going to be talented.
That would have been a bold prediction.
Yeah, y'all like,
oh, he win World Series MVP.
Y'all like, oh, yeah, he's on that good.
He said he was legit, though.
No. He said he was That's what I'm saying. You came out and you had his back. I'm just saying, that's a very bold prediction.
Yeah.
That's a very bold prediction.
But the way he came in, and he was a Gold Glover, too. You know what I'm saying? And he beat out Correa for the Gold Glove.
First rookie shortstop to win a Gold Glove.
First rookie shortstop to hit a home run. First rookie shortstop to be MVP. Yeah, I mean, there's just so many great things that Jeremy Pena brought
I think
to the
was
table.
He the first rookie to have hits in consecutive, 6 consecutive World Series games?
Yes.
He just set so many records.
And he was ready for the moment. You could see it. And as I told you before, think about this. We've been talking about all these teams and all these different players. This dude was playing baseball at the college in Maine. That's where Jeremy Pena was playing baseball. He was playing shortstop at Maine.
That's wild.
That's
wild.
And they found him,
yeah.
Got him here. Obviously his daddy was a big leaguer, been around at least 6 years, did his thing, was a catcher. But, man, you just look at it and you say, man, this kid's future is so bright. And for him to go out there and be that player that he's done, and you look at Bregman, he's a leader. He's a leader. But to back up this for what you said, Rob, in 5 years, they had 2 world championships, 4 American League pennants. They've had an MVP, Cy Young Award winners, Gold Glove winners, Silver Sluggers, and all-stars, and like I told you before, they're mostly homegrown.
It's unbelievable. And like I said, they're young.
Yeah.
And they have a chance. I mean, talking about it's too early for this, but they have a chance to compete for another one, to go back to back.
Yeah, for sure.
And then
Dusty said, we're going for another one.
Yeah, exactly.
At a party.
Yeah, and if they do that, then we can truly be done with the discussion about whether it's a dynastic run. Like, no, that would be a dynasty.
Yeah.
It would be official. But, yeah, I mean, it's been really impressive. I did see that Maldonado played with a broken hand.
Yeah.
Found that out. So, guys, I mean, there's so many different stories of guys making individual either sacrifices or great plays for the Astros during this run. Hell, Framber Valdez, we didn't talk about him and his performance there in Game 6.
Oh, yeah.
He was phenomenal.
Remember, you asked me before we left, who do you think is going to be the MVP? I said if I had to give it right now, it would be Pena.
Yeah.
But Framber would be the other one. If they were going to give it to him, a pitcher, he would have been the perfect candidate for it because of what he's done the entire time.
Yeah, no, in the World Series, you're talking about he's the 15th pitcher ever and just the second since 2003 to have multiple games with 8+ strikeouts in the World Series. 21 total innings pitched, I believe, 6 hits allowed, 5 walks, 18 strikeouts, 1.46 ERA.
And did you see the story that apparently after Game 3?
12 innings, so I almost said 12.
Apparently after the Game 3, Michael Brantley called him, got in the locker room and spoke to the team about getting their head back up and that you're the better team and you need to go out there and win the game. So Michael Brantley, who's not on the roster, injured, can't play, still a part that everyone was like, oh, no, that was when we were like, oh, yeah, we are better than them.
Right.
I know they beat us tonight, but who cares? We'll go beat them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about, man.
Yeah, no, they came up with some clutch plays, and, didn't even really – it wasn't even their best performance. They're going up against a good team, too, in the Phillies, obviously, but it wasn't necessarily a well-rounded performance by the Astros. They didn't show out.
No.
They just make, like you said, clutch plays with situational baseball.
And I want to tell y'all this. That ball that Jordan hit, I've been around a lot of guys, and when you go up over the batter's eye in straightaway center field and you knew it right away, that's grown man territory. We know how exciting and electric he can hit balls all over the place. But when you hit a ball straightaway center field like that, and it had all that trajectory going out there, that ball, he could not have hit it any better. Like, everything was – because he's been struggling.
That's true.
He's been struggling at the plate, and he comes up, clutch situation, and like that dude said when he announced it, he has turned the World Series upside down. And that's because he made that thing backspin all the way to straightaway center field.
Didn't it land in somebody's nachos?
Yeah, because that's a restaurant area up there. That's grown. Like I said, that's grown folks area up there.
Oh, man. No,
crushed it.
Man, by the way, I don't think you're ever going to see a reliever come in for Jordan, left-handed reliever again. They're like, so what happened last couple times we put a left-handed reliever in for Jordan?
Right.
Oh, he won games?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Got to check that
and they were
scouting
both
report.
3-run shots.
Yeah.
They were both 3-run shots.
Update that scouting report a little bit.
Yeah.
Someone said, what Robert makes a team a dynasty? We're not saying they're a dynasty. We're saying they're a dynastic or ish. That's kind of what we're in the vein of saying. If you want to believe they're a dynasty, go right ahead. If you want to disagree, that's fine too. I think you get one more, and then you can erase all doubt about whether it's a dynasty.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, it's up for discussion. It's definitely a healthy debate.
Yeah.
Because of what they've done, and you have the first one that was a little tainted, and you have still, this one which removes a little bit of the stain from the first one.
Yeah.
But the more success they have, the less people are going to think about that.
For sure.
That tainted
For sure.
title.
I mean, because now remember, everybody's screaming, we were Houston.
Oh,
that's right.
Do you hear him at the parade today?
Houston.
Hey, this is what they did at the parade today, Harge. That's the team right there.
Yeah. You be careful what you ask for.
Hey.
Be careful what you ask for.
I love it. Hey, the Astros as hated as the Yankees right now.
Right, and you love that, don't you?
It's a beautiful thing. Never thought I'd be able to say it. I love it. Don't like the wheezing it. They're hated like that, but I got to tell you.
Put them in there. Put them in the mix.
It feels good. Feels good.
Love it.
All right, we'll come back. We got the flex on the other side. We'll tell you about some of the updates in high school football right here in Central Texas. Right here on Ball Don't Lie, 104.9 The Horn. Hey, what's up, folks? Lifetime Longhorn Rod Babers here. Everybody knows my favorite tequila is Hot Cat Tequila. As a matter of fact, hey, this weekend celebrating that World Series championship for the Astros, Go Stros, and also, celebrating the Longhorns win. Hey, knocked back a few shots of Hot Cat Tequila. I couldn't help it. Having a good time. Had even better time after I got a chance to enjoy some Hot Cat Tequila. The cat stands for cinnamon, agave, and tequila, and the recipe is simple and brilliant and just as delicious. Just cinnamon, agave, nectar, and tequila. That's why it's so light. That's why it's so smooth. Sometimes it can be a little too smooth. That's why it's a tequila lover's dream. So if you're not a fan of tequila, Hot Cat Tequila will make you a fan of tequila. Hot Cat Tequila will turn any event into a party, and every party feels like a celebration. So celebrate and turn up with Hot Cat Tequila. Once you try Hot Cat, you won't go back to that old cinnamon whiskey or that cheap tequila you ordered rounds of when you were just trying to get the party started. Turn up your party, turn up your tailgate with Hot Cat Tequila. No football tailgate or watch party is complete without Hot Cat Tequila. It's the perfect way to pregame for the big game, concerts, festivals, or a night on the town with family and friends. Hot Cat Tequila is best served cold for a quick round of shots or to sip on the rocks when you're just trying to chill or throw something on the grill. Visit cattequila.com to find a store near you that sells Hot Cat Tequila or to find a bar near you that serves Hot Cat Tequila. And if you're at your favorite bar, your favorite liquor store, why don't you ask for Hot Cat Tequila? You can thank me later. Turn up with Hot Cat Tequila. Welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. It is a Smooth Soul Monday. Oh, man. Oh, James Brown, godfather of soul. Man, one of the godfathers of funk, too, really.
Everything.
Yeah. He actually is one of the, if you want to technically, but I think he's actually in one of the hip-hop kind of godfathers, too. He's one of the most sampled artists in history, and it's mostly because hip-hop loved James Brown, early parts of it. All right. Anyway, let's get to our flex right here, FLXATX.com, FLXATX in the Twitterverse. Just a heads up, we are getting ready to finalize our all-flex football team since the season is officially done. We are in the midst of voting. We're doing our own individual voting, and we got to send it all in. But yeah, that'll be happening probably in the next couple of weeks here, I'm assuming.
As they got the playoffs getting ready to start, so there's a lot that'll be going into it. But yes, it should be coming out here pretty soon.
Yeah, so we're really excited about that, so make sure you keep an eye out for that. But some of the highlights on the FLXATX.com website there, go check it out. Now Maxwell Family Dealership Student Athlete of the Week is up there as well. Will Hammond, by the way. So shout out to him. And also somebody who gets some love with the all-flex watch list for the quarterback position. But Will and the Huddle Hippos battled the Weiss Wolves at home. It was their last game of the season. Huddle did find a way to win the game. They beat them 41-38, so that was a bit of a nail biter. But Hammond completed 63% of his passes, went 26 of 41 for 370 yards and 4 tuds.
4 tuds.
Yeah, man. So put in some work there. So a lot of teams right now looking ahead to the playoffs. You also can go check out the Week 11 results there. They have up there too at FLXATX.com. Also, just a quick heads up, they also have the power rankings up there too of the 5A and 6A. My man Snoop does a great job. 6A, 5A D1, 5A D2. Those power rankings are up there as well. So you can go check those out at FLXATX.com. But then we're going to start the playoff coverage.
Playoff starts this week, starting Thursday night. There's a bunch of games that will be jumping off on Thursday, obviously Friday as well. They should have everything listed there and brought back up to date, at least tonight for sure. On everybody, where they're playing, the times and everything. Yeah,
we'll give you updates tomorrow on all of the, obviously, the playoff brackets and who's playing who and all the matchups. We'll get you some of those updates tomorrow. But if you want to get a kind of a jump start on everything, just go to FLXATX.com or FLXATX on all of your social media platforms. Those guys do a great job. But I'm really excited they are now. Also, they have the All Flex volleyball as well. So go check that out too. They have that up there. Remember, last week, not yesterday. Last week, we announced all of the All Flex volleyball watch listers. So go check that out. That's up there. But I'm really excited that we're narrowing down the All Flex watch list to the All Flex team. It is the inaugural All Flex team. First time we've all done it. So we all vote individually on it, and
they tally the votes and they can put it all in there.
I got my favorites, the guys that I've had eyes on, that I've seen. Some guys just impressed me. They came out of nowhere, too.
Correct.
So there are some of those stories, but some great players, and it was really tough. I did my voting. I sent it in. It was tough. Some positions tougher than others. I'm going to say, man, running back was really tough.
Oh, yeah.
Because running back is deep.
Especially in this area.
Wide receiver is deep.
Very much so.
You go look at some of the guys who stood out. I mean, it's hard to ignore some guy. Like, you can't ignore it. Hard to ignore it small.
You can't.
Like, how you going
You can't.
How you going to ignore what he's done? I mean, statistically, here, I got his stats right here. Because I was doing my research about all these great players. Ed Small at the wide receiver position for Anderson, 56 receptions. This is actually prior, I believe, to their last game or to the last week. They were 56 receptions for 1,125 yards, 20 yards per reception, 15 touchdowns.
Stretch it.
So I was like, I don't care how much you like some other wide receivers on our watch list. Big names, some great guys. Jaden Great was a big name, of course. Braylon James, great name. You can't. I mean, how can you leave off Ed Small?
You can't.
That's what I said.
Yeah, I mean, there's no reason for it, regardless of what is great. But then you got some other guys.
Miles Coleman from Vandergrift, beast mode.
Yup.
He's over 1,000 yards. Julius Baynard from Bastrop, over 1,000 yards.
Just think about saying that people are throwing the ball that much.
Right? How you
in high school.
How you ignore a guy that's over 1,000 yards?
Yeah, it's tough.
And I don't know how many spots we got for wide receivers. I think we got 3. Maybe
That's why there's
3,
some numbers
2.
you put by him.
Man,
You gotta rank them.
but then you got guys you put just to pass the eye test.
Yeah.
Like your Jaden Greathouse and your Braylon James. You go, oh no, that guy.
Yeah.
And, no, but I'm a productivity guy
I
too,
was gonna
man.
say, you gotta look at the numbers and see exactly
you
what's been
producing
going
like
in there.
that. 20 yards per reception with over 1,000 yards.
Yeah.
So you got
probably
Rod
got like
Beast
10 touchdowns as well. You know what I'm saying?
He's got 15.
Yeah.
I would say Rod B.
Yeah.
Hey, sorry. I mean, spoiler alert. I had to vote for that dude. It's like, hey, well, he's one of mine.
By the way, he's a baseball player too.
Exactly. No,
Yeah.
I got a chance to meet the young man.
Yeah.
That's also
That's right.
got a
We
little
didn't
plus.
meet him.
Yeah,
That's
we got
right.
a chance to
That's
meet him.
right.
So
That's right.
another plus there. Anyway, all right. So we're looking forward to that. Obviously, guys are doing a lot of hard work. I did some research on that this past weekend. All right, coming back, let's get to NFL news, notes, and nuggets, gentlemen. Frank Reich was fired, so Sam Ehlinger, no head coach, no OC. Sam Ehlinger got to do it by his damn self. He's done it before. It's all right.
Sounds familiar.
We'll talk Cowboys news, notes, and nuggets as well. All that and more right here on Ball Don't Lie. 104.9 The Horn.
It's your boy Hardball Harge here, and I want to talk to you about my friend Sam Dude. You know, interest rates are still going up, but there's still options out there. And let my friend Sam Dude, the mortgage guru with American Financial Network, help you out. You can find him at homeloandude.com. Home values are better than ever before, so use some of that home equity to pay off some of that credit card debt. You got some back taxes you need to catch up on, or even make some home improvements. I know everybody's trying to look at it. Give him a shout, and he'll definitely help you out. And even if you don't want to refi to take advantage of that equity, you can do a second lien on your home, and you could pay off some of that debt. Your credit card interest rates are probably still over 20%. So even at today's home interest rates, you're still going to be saving a ton of money. Sam Dude can also help you with that dream house you've been eyeing, and will give you a lot more firepower when you're submitting an offer. Sellers really don't want to deal with big box banks. They want to deal with someone that's local. That's my friend Sam Dude at American Financial Network. Make sure you hit him up right now at homeloandude.com. Now more than ever, if you have questions about your loan or you're trying to buy a new home, get with Sam Dude, the mortgage guru with American Financial Network. Find him at homeloandude.com. NMLS 299345.
Welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. It is a Smooth Soul Monday. Initially, we were thinking we'd have to soothe the souls of tortured sports fans who had to deal with their team taking an L over the weekend. Some of y'all's teams did take an L, but around these parts, we're celebrating the Longhorns getting a win over K-State. The Dallas Cowboys did not play. Well, Texans played earlier last week, so we didn't have to worry about the Texans. But the Cowboys were on a bye week, so we'll get to talking about some of the headlines coming out of the bye week for the Cowboys. Always headlines surrounding the Cowboys, even coming out of the bye week. We'll get to that. We also have Hard Knock Life coming up next. And what you got for the people coming up on Hard Knock Life?
I'm going to give a salute to our man, Dusty Baker.
That's right.
Yeah, Dusty Baker, who's been around the game for quite some time. He's seen a lot. He's seen a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Now he gets to party like a rock star.
I like that. Have you heard Zay's Dusty Baker impersonation?
My God.
It's obviously cartoonish, and it's a caricature, but it's pretty damn funny.
Yeah.
It's basically any old black man
For sure.
with a toothpick,
yes.
whose body hanging out in the corner too much.
Exactly.
That's kind of what it is.
He act like he in the hood, even though Dusty is from L.A. You know
No
what
doubt.
I'm saying?
Yeah, no doubt about that. All right, so looking forward to that coming up for Hard Knock Life. Before we get to the Cowboys and get to a couple of stories surrounding them or about them, big news in the NFL actually has a little connection to a lifetime Longhorn, Sam Ehlinger. Frank Reich, his former head coach with the Indianapolis Colts, was given his walking papers, relieved of duty today, gentlemen. And if that wasn't the wildest part of the story, for a coach to be fired midseason, I guess, is not that crazy these days, not that wild. But Jeff Saturday. Yeah. Jeff Saturday. The one you're like, that Jeff? That's Jeff Saturday.
That's him.
Former longtime Colts center, Jeff Saturday, has been named interim head coach.
And he's going to name Dan Orlovsky his quarterback's coach and offensive coordinator. Kidding.
I was going to say. Dude,
That's what I'm saying. This is what this
is. Please let this happen. I would love that. I would love that. I would love that. That would be amazing. But, okay, to that point, though, do you guys remember, because the Texans, and Patrick will probably remember this is part of the reason he decided to, renounce his fandom with the Texans. Do you remember the Josh McCown talk?
Yes.
Whispers of the Texans. They were going to bring him in.
They were deep because he's a man of faith as well.
Exactly, right? They want to be the Chick-fil-A of the NFL. They want to have a faith-based business model. And that Jack used to be was convincing him, hey, Josh McCown, man of faith, bring him in. And they were talking to him, grooming him as a head coach.
Yes. Yes.
Right? Do you remember this? Okay, I'm not making this up then.
No, you're not. No.
Okay, this is not as absurd as which one is more absurd? Or the same amount of absurdity that Jeff Saturday is taking over as the interim coach when Josh? Because
I would say the Josh McCown's more because it was at the beginning of the season when there was multiple coaches you could go get.
Okay,
there's not as many coaches you can go get.
Right.
Yeah.
So
I agree with
they're
that.
both absurd. This one, you're at least like, hey man, look, we're trying to lose games.
Just take it over.
We're already out of it. Hey, let's go lose some games. We won too many already, but we don't want to be in the pick to go get somebody good.
Yeah.
So that at least makes sense. But when you're starting the season,
no, with you. It both absurd. Trust me, I wasn't trying to justify what the Texans were doing.
This is absurd. This is completely absurd.
It is absurd.
I mean,
right?
it just
That's
makes no
It's
sense
like,
because here's the deal.
But Patrick's right. Not as absurd as the Texans. Just wanted to make sure we got that right.
Yeah.
You've made all these decisions that have bounced back and been awful for you. You went out and got a coach, and then you brought in 5 different quarterbacks that you're still paying after Andrew Luck left.
They've actually had 7 starting quarterbacks.
Okay, 7
since
now.
Frank Reich took over.
Exactly.
Total. Yeah.
Yes. So you're sitting here and you're creating this, and then you're going to say, I want Sam Ehlinger to get his shot, but hey, by the way, I'm going to fire his offensive coordinator. The offensive line is awful.
It's putrid.
That is a terrible offensive line. Oh, by the way, my top running back is not healthy. We're going to trade the backup running back for somebody else and bring in a running back who hadn't been playing.
Yeah.
And now you're trying to get this kid to go out there and you're bringing in a guy that wasn't even in the building? He has no shot, and I feel awful for Sam.
Yeah.
I feel awful. He got sacked 9 times yesterday. That's
no,
awful.
they basically.
I can't believe they're this bad
No,
now.
they've set him up for failure. There's
Yeah.
no question. I'm not saying Sam's going to fail, but they're not doing him any favors at all. My point is they're setting him up for failure. And I've always said the quarterback position means something different for everybody. Like
Yes.
for fans, it's hope, right? Quarterback means the hope of a new day. For the team or that, especially in the NFL, you're talking about professional. But for the team, it's usually the face of the franchise or the marketing and merchandising, right? Jersey sales
Yep.
for the quarterback. For coaches, it's job security. Your quarterback is your job security. And the instability under center for the Colts essentially, in my opinion, kind of mirrored the instability of job security for Frank Reich. He never really had in my opinion, a stable situation at quarterback, period. And it wasn't always his fault. I'm not saying it was his fault.
Yeah.
But yeah, he should have stabilized that long ago. And the fact that he let it be a carousel, musical chairs at quarterback, whatever it was, that was his undoing.
Yeah.
That was the end of his. He's not. I don't think he's a bad coach. I really
No,
don't.
he's not.
He made the playoffs multiple times with these.
With all these different backup,
different
other quarterbacks.
And
Yeah.
probably should have made it more if Carson Wentz didn't choke it off against Jacksonville in the last
Thank
game
you.
last year. So I think he's a good coach, but yeah, man, you got to have stability at quarterback. If there is instability at quarterback or uncertainty at quarterback, then your job is in jeopardy as a head coach.
Yeah, for
Period.
sure.
That's
For
just
sure.
the way it works.
And then you're bringing in so many different quarterbacks that there's no chemistry
Nope.
with the team at all.
Yeah.
And then you're expected to go out there and run this offense that nobody obviously seems to understand because you don't have Jonathan Taylor back there. And Jonathan Taylor is probably looking at that line and saying, "No, dog. No, I'm good right now. Sorry, Sam. Wish you best of luck, but I can't run behind this line. My number's going to look bad."
Damn.
It's just a bad look for
is.
Indianapolis. And I like that organization as a whole. They've done some great things.
Oh, they have.
They've been in the mix. I mean, you went from Peyton Manning to Andrew Luck. And then all of a sudden, then the carousel started with everyone else. It's just a tough thing for Sam. I feel awful for him.
I do. Sam's got a tremendous amount of character, and he's been through, unfortunately, too much adversity for a young man his age. But he is accustomed to battling adversity. It really is. He dealt with it here at Texas, before his time here at Texas, in the NFL. So obviously this is something that he can use to intrinsically motivate him. But yeah, man, at the NFL level, like I said, they're not doing the young man any favors.
No, and you got to remember too, Matt Ryan. If he gets injured this year seriously, then he gets at like $18 million on his contract guaranteed next season. That is not fully guaranteed right now. So pretty good chance you're not seeing him come back in a Colts uniform this year. No matter who the coach is, that they're basically saying, all right, that Matt Ryan experiment is done. We don't want to pay him any more money.
Right.
So we'll let Sam stay in. And then we'll hire an offensive lineman to hopefully get our offensive line to remember how to play football.
It's just so bad. I swear to you, when I was watching that yesterday,
Can't believe it.
I just was like, I could not understand what was happening. And every time we thought going into the game, though, we talked about it. That's Belichick that he's going to be going against. Times are going to be a little bit different. He's going to see so many different looks. It's going to be rough for him. I wasn't expecting him to get sacked 9 times with no help.
Yeah. He just doesn't really have weapons.
None.
To throw the football to either right now. So, it is. It's to me. I think for Sam, it's just going to be an uphill battle because the front office. Because I agree with Patrick. I think this is their way of mailing it in.
Done.
The rest of the season too.
Bringing in Saturday.
Yeah,
Yep.
they're basically saying we're going to focus on the future. He's not going to be the coach there for even if he wins out. They're not going to keep Jeff Saturday there as the
Well,
head
if he
coach.
wins out, they're keeping him.
You think so?
Yes, if he wins out, do you understand what a turnaround that would be? If this team wins out, then you found the market, and everyone's hiring commentators to run their team.
The
odds of him winning out, what, -50?
No, I know. That's what I'm saying. But if they happen to do that, I still don't think they would keep him. I still think you got to.
I think if he went 500, they wouldn't keep him. Let's put it that way.
You know, it reminds me of, remember the Raiders last year with Bisaccia?
Yeah.
Ended up making the playoffs, and they decided to move on from him. Probably was a mistake, but I should have kept Bisaccia. Now, in retrospect, instead of hiring Josh McDaniels. So maybe you're on to something there. All right, let's get to the Cowboys here because they are favorites on the road versus the Packers, who lost again.
Oh, my gosh.
To the Detroit Lions this time. So another low for the Packers. By the way, the Packers are averaging. Oh, I saw this little factoid.
Go ahead, pull that up. That is so bad.
It is. It's unbelievable, actually.
Yes.
They are averaging 17 points per game. Fewest through first 9 games of the season since 1992, which was Brett Favre's first season with the team.
Just so bad. And they're not even fun to watch at all.
No, they're not.
I was watching that game because had them in a parlay because guess what? They were playing the Detroit Lions.
Hey, man, don't be hating on my Lions, man.
Well, Aaron
Watch your
Glenn
mouth.
got the game ball yesterday. Dan Campbell was almost crying in the locker room. He gave Aaron Glenn the game ball because of how many times they turned him over in the red zone. Aaron Rodgers was giving everybody and then mad at everybody on the sideline. I'm like, dude, you got fake hustle, man. That's exactly what you've turned yourself into. You've turned yourself into fake hustle because you obviously can't keep players around you. Nobody wants to play. He threw a pass to his offensive lineman, and he underthrew the offensive lineman. That's why Aiden Hutchinson got the interception. It was so bad. And I'm just looking at Aaron Rodgers and saying, have you mailed it in? Because last night, he and Tom Brady should have lost that game. Tom Brady should have lost that game too.
He was lucky to win that
He
one.
was lucky to win that game, and that was because of the ineffectiveness of the offense for the Rams now. They are bad now. And
He
it's
just
just
had to
like,
get a first down and could close out that game. Couldn't get a first down.
man, I
Sean
just
McVay team can't get a first down.
can't get a first down.
Yeah.
That is bad.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That is bad, and that's why you saw some of the players in the locker room when they were getting interviewed, they were not happy because the defense played well enough to win the game
Well,
on
it's not-
both sides of the ball.
Yeah, well, it's not hard to stop Tom Brady and company these days.
Right.
Because they can't run the ball.
And they're dropping passes
They're
all over the
one-dimensional.
place.
Yeah, they're a one-dimensional team. But Tom Brady, the GOAT, once again, finds a way.
Yeah.
So hopefully they can try to get it together down there in Tampa Bay. But Green Bay, on the other hand, man, dark days might be ahead for them. Cowboys are a 4.5-point favorite
That's what scares me.
on the road at Green Bay.
Yeah, but Green Bay, like you just said, that is bad. That is the way that they have been playing all the way around has been awful. And I just still don't understand what has happened with them. I know we talk about they don't have any weapons, but
because remember, there's now a report they tried to trade for Chase Claypool, tried to trade for Jerry Jeudy, just couldn't get it done. Much like the Cowboys, by the way, which we'll get to.
But
also.
I'm curious to why they've never had a big time player at wide receiver. All those guys developed themselves into that.
Well, apparently they had a huge offer out for Darren Waller.
Yeah, so yeah, you're right.
Yeah, they had a
Good
huge
point.
offer out
Yeah.
trying to get them as a franchise tight end, which the last franchise tight end they had was maybe Jermichael Finley,
Probably.
which was our last franchise tight end at Texas, too.
Very fair.
Oh, got
Very
one now.
fair. Got one now.
JT, thanks, JT.
It took a little while, but we got one now.
Yeah, you're right about that. Endangered species for a while in the 40 acres.
Man.
But no, getting back to
Endangered
It was
species.
for a long
Yeah,
time. But
yeah.
no, you're right, man. I've never seen an Aaron Rodgers quarterback Packers team look this bad and this inept, this incompetent on offense, and they don't look like they have the resilience to turn it around at this point. I don't really see a path for them, and I think that's why Patrick mentioned they tried to get Waller, they tried to get Jude Claypool, they tried to get a
find
lot of
something,
because
yeah.
they know they need something to turn it around. Their plan to have their running backs essentially supplement the production in the passing game has not worked, and the development of those young wide receivers has not panned out for them either.
And they thought when that O-line would get healthy, they were like, oh, our O-line, like
better
Bakhtiari
run
and
the
all
rock.
them, when they get healthy, then we'll be fine. So we just need to get the pieces ready because the O-line, and then the O-line's just never been healthy and never been good.
Yeah.
So when you lose that part, then everything falls apart.
No, you're
Yeah.
right. It ain't been pretty. It ain't been pretty at all for them. So they got different issues than some of the other teams right now. But the Cowboys, they're catching them at a good time, or maybe at a dangerous time.
Yep.
Maybe backs up against the wall.
That's where I'm nervous about that
got
part
nothing to
of
lose
it.
at this point.
Right,
Yeah.
and Aaron Rodgers loves this type of atmosphere, right?
He does. He thrives
because
in this
now
type
he's
of
sitting
atmosphere.
there and
Everybody's doubting him, everybody's talking
Exactly,
trash on him.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep.
You're right.
I'm just sitting there looking at this game, and as I look at the Cowboys and what they're capable of doing, coming off the bye week and watching how bad this was, the film can lie to you and get you tricked away, right? So you're looking at it and say, "Oh man, you could take it a little bit easy because they don't have anything that can match with us." No. Go out there and keep that work because this is the NFL and things can flip quickly.
Speaking of, how about this? People thought that Jerry Jones was referring to the trade deadline when he kept talking about, they got something in the works. There's now belief that he wasn't talking about the trade deadline. We just assumed that he was talking about the trade deadline because it was around the trade deadline that he was making those comments. There's belief now that he may have been talking about Odell Beckham Jr.
Talk about it.
Okay, so the Cowboys not only tried to acquire Brandon Cooks, as we know, Nick Caserio screwed it up, gave Brandon Cooks an extension for no reason at all last offseason for 2 years for $40 million, way too expensive for an aging wide receiver, and he wanted a second and a fourth for Brandon Cooks, and he wanted the Cowboys to pay all that money. Bad deal. Glad the Cowboys passed on that. That was just stupid. So anyway, they also had interest in Jerry Jeudy. That didn't work out. Apparently, they couldn't make a deal on Jerry Jeudy to the Cowboys. I would have loved to have seen that though. Ooh, that'd have been nice and sexy. So Jerry Jeudy probably would have cost him a second-round pick, reportedly, and they didn't want to pay the second-round pick. I understand that. Ian Rappaport and Mike Garofalo, though, have reported recently that the Cowboys have expressed serious interest in Odell Beckham Jr., and he is, quote, firmly in the Cowboys' sights and, quote, on their radar. After his ACL injury last year, the team has done regular checks in on him to figure out if he could be ready. And they're also, Jay Glazer, reporting that he could be medically cleared this week. And that may be the addition or the acquisition that Jerry was referring to.
On.
Maybe that was it, Hart.
Maybe.
You want a wide receiver. You've been saying you want another addition at wideout for the Cowboys.
We definitely need another wide receiver, somebody that can offset what's going on with CeeDee Lamb. Is Michael Gallup? Does he look like he's 100%? I still think he's favoring a little bit.
I think you're right.
Jalen Tolbert hadn't done anything as a rookie. And Noah Brown is coming off of an injury. I mean, he hadn't played since he got that flip on the goal line.
Yeah, and we don't know what James Washington's
going to
be this year.
We don't know what James Washington's going to be. So I know he's been using the tight ends a lot more. He's been going with different personnel. We've been talking about Pollard, how they're going to use him and what's going to happen there. There's so many things that still need to be answered, but the main thing is the wide receiver position. There needs to be one more threat for you to feel like you can really make that push for a championship run.
Well, yeah, because
I know it's still early.
No,
but
I totally agree with you, though.
Yeah.
You're right, because the offense is doing fine right now, and I love what Kellen Moore is doing, even though Hart won't give him any props just yet.
Not yet.
But you want to present the defense with a mathematical equation they cannot solve. Football is just a numbers game. They got to stack the box to stop your running game because your run game's been that damn good, especially with Dak in the mix. Now they're using Dak's legs a little bit with Zeke and with Tony Pollard at full go. If they got to stack the box to stop that running game and you're that focused on it, then that means CeeDee Lamb gets one-on-one, and it means your wide receivers across the board can get one-on-one coverage. If CeeDee Lamb can become a true wide receiver one, a true guy that demands a double team that has gravity, then you really have the incalculable mathematical equation because it's impossible to stack the box, double him, and also double anybody else in that offense. That means you got one-on-one across the board, and that's ideally, as an offensive coordinator, what you want. You can just you can manipulate and you can also kind of build in and bake in one-on-ones within your offense. That's what he's trying to do. And you're right, you need another wideout to do that.
You do.
Because right now with you, Gallup, he doesn't present that kind of threat right now.
Right. He just kind of looks like he's not comfortable.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, and that make, the mental aspect of it, coming off that injury, every cut you make, and especially I haven't looked at his past or looked at his injury history, but sometimes when it's your first time, you don't know how to act. If you've never been injured before, you don't understand what it's like to go through the rehab.
That's true.
To get back on the field to go be yourself because you don't feel comfortable. I had to talk to my son about it. It's like, dude, just go play and go be you, because if you keep thinking about it, it's not going to be the same. You're going to be a little hesitant. You're not going to be as sharp, and you're thinking about that instead of being quick. And it was the first time he had ever been injured. I, on the other hand, had been injured multiple times, so I knew what it was all about. Wife had both of her legs. She had 2 ACLs on both of them. I mean, so she's going through it. So we had to work through that. But for Michael Gallup, it looks like he's still He's not running as sharp.
Little
He's not.
hesitant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish he could get over it, and he may have. The bye week might have come at the right time.
because you also got to remember he misses training camp.
Yeah.
Basically, he misses
Yeah.
all of those to get all those reps.
Yep.
And he's playing a newer position because he was wide receiver 3 for a few years. Now he's moving into the wide receiver 2, and when CeeDee's on the bench, he's wide receiver 1,
Yep.
where you're getting just guarded a lot differently. So I think there is maybe the bye week will give him, hey, man, get some more reps in practice with Dak and kind of get a little bit better feel for it.
No, that's a good point there.
Yeah.
All right, let me tell you real quick about Dr. Greg Eckert before we get a break here. Dr. Greg Eckert and his wonderful team over there doing wonderful work for you, no matter what your dental needs or concerns are. If you have any concerns about your dental health, you need to visit Dr. Greg Eckert. Dr. Greg Eckert with a U, by the way, and the U is appropriate because it stands for you, because he's all about you. He's all about the patient. He's all about providing you with the best quality dental care available, whether it be general dentistry or teeth whitening or dentures, porcelain crowns, veneers, dental implants, full mouth reconstruction, even root canal therapy, whatever it takes to ensure you're getting the best quality dental care available. That's what Dr. Greg Eckert and his team are all about. And every time I go visit Dr. Greg Eckert, he's all about, making sure that he's on the cutting edge of all the technological advances in dentistry so he can provide you with the best care. And right now, Dr. Eckert can give you a brand new smile in just one day, permanently secured to your dental implants. We're talking about no time spent without teeth. You'll get temporary fixtures until they can complete your permanent smile, and then you'll smile again with confidence and eat freely without pain or discomfort. We're talking about a lifelike permanent solution. So if you've been told your teeth need to be replaced, call Dr. Eckert today. It's a complimentary consultation, so you got nothing to lose and everything to gain, and you can learn about this revolutionary alternative to dentures, a brand new smile in just one day. I know it sounds too good to be true. It's not. It's just Dr. Greg Eckert with a U. 512-345-3166. That's 512-345-3166, or visit drueckert.com, drueckert.com. All right, we'll come back. What you got coming up for the people on Harsh Knock Life?
Dusty Baker, World Series champion, as a manager. Yeah.
How sweet it is. We'll talk about that when we
is.
come back for Harsh Knock Life right here on Ball Don't Lie on 104.9 The Horn. Hey, what's up, folks? Lifetime Longhorn Rod Babers here. MyBookie invites you to secure the bag with their new unique money bag feature. That's right, their money bag betting feature is a one-of-a-kind opportunity to spin for crazy odds on props and futures. Place your bet, spin the wheel, and get ready to score epic odds on the best teams, athletes, and events. For example, you choose to bet on the Super Bowl 57 winner money bag. It's that easy. You bet $10, and if your team is, say, the Buffalo Bills, randomly selected, and if your Buffalo Bills win, you can win $240. Easy cash. That's right, folks. MyBookie has the biggest online selection of odds, prop bets, and contests to fill all your sports betting needs anytime, anywhere. Will Dak Prescott throw for more than 250 yards? Will Michael Parsons have another sack this weekend? You can build your own prop bets at MyBookie.com. Sign up at MyBookie.com. Use the promo code HORN, HORN, and you can claim your 50% deposit match up to any amount up to $1,000. That's right, folks. You go to MyBookie.com, use the promo code HORN, HORN, and claim your 50% deposit match of any amount up to $1,000. That's bet anything, bet anytime, and bet anywhere. As long as you're betting with my friends over at MyBookie, you're betting with the best.
Welcome back to a Smooth Soul Monday edition of Ball Don't Lie. It's your boy Hardball Harge. You can follow me on Twitter at Hardball Harge. You can follow my man Rob Babers at Rob Babers. And you can follow my man Patrick Davis, the man behind the glass, at It's Patrick Davis. You can also be a part of the show, and we love it when you are because you've been hitting us up all day on the Specs text line 512-337-3776. And I want to get into this because as we sat back this past weekend and watched the Astros win the World Series.
Go Astros!
There you go. For the second time. And we've talked about everything that happened back in the day where everyone was upset with them. They were calling them cheaters. They've been trash cans, and everybody had something to say. They ended up losing their manager. They ended up being fined. There are so many things that went on. And as they lost their manager, A.J. Hinch, everybody was trying to figure out what's going to happen with this team. And they bring in this man who's been around the game for such a long time. And you tried to figure it out. So Dusty Baker has played and been around professional baseball for over 50 years.
That's crazy.
He played in the big leagues from 1968 to 1986 before getting into coaching. Dusty Baker made the World Series as a manager in 2002 with the Giants, and he made it in 2021, obviously, with the Houston Astros, but he didn't win those two times. So Dusty Baker also won a World Series ring in 1981 when he was on the Dodgers, and the Dodgers ended up winning the World Series. So he has a World Series ring as a player, but everybody was trying to figure out is he the right guy to get him over the hump. And if you listen to the players and you see exactly how they act around him and him smiling with that toothpick, those gloves, and the wristbands. The wristbands are the thing for me.
I mean,
the
that's
wristbands.
how you know he's going. He's in the mirror for a few minutes.
Oh yeah, he's
getting the
styling.
wristbands right. Yeah,
styling.
which I ain't mad at. I'm just saying, you know, he's intentional.
And the wristbands got his picture on them. That's the beautiful thing about it.
No,
they do. Oh yeah. Wow. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
That's the beautiful thing about Dusty Baker.
Man, if he wasn't mine, I'd make fun of him. if he wasn't mine, I'd make fun of him.
Oh, Dusty got them wristbands.
Got the wristband,
and that's got his picture on.
He wanted mine. I did not know the picture was on there.
Oh yeah.
Whoa.
Oh yeah.
So he's getting these specially made.
They used to make those for everybody. Everybody in the big leagues at one point, they had wristbands with their face on them, and that's why after games they would throw them up in the stands and people would get them.
Okay.
And so it was one of those
talk
marketing
about ego.
things. Hey man.
Wow.
Sometimes you gotta love me some me. Hey, if you don't love yourself, who does?
How is that not calling it football? Because football guys are egomaniacs. I can see all the wide receivers wearing themselves.
Oh, that's part of the wardrobe. That's part of his wardrobe.
You know, DeMarvin Overshoulder had pictures of himself all over himself.
You know that. You know, with old straps.
Right?
Old
Come
straps.
on, man.
But yes,
that's great.
Dusty Baker.
I did not know that.
Has been in this game for over 50 years as a player, as a manager, and he's gone into all of these different teams and had different personalities and had all these different ways of going about his business and never really got the true credit that he deserved as a manager. You know, people always talk about, oh, we love Dusty, but especially in this game because he became, with him winning the World Series, he became the third manager, black manager, to win a World Series. Baseball's been played since 1886. They haven't had this going on in baseball. You look at Dave Roberts, Cito Gaston when he was Dave Roberts with the Dodgers, and Cito Gaston when he was with the Toronto Blue Jays. Those are the only two.
That's crazy.
Before Dusty Baker got this past weekend. And you go through baseball and you listen to people talk about what Dusty brings to the table and the people that will sit in the locker room and get those moments.
Yep. Like
Dusty Baker had moments with each one of his players throughout his career. And that is why these guys wanted to play so hard for him. He's 73 years old. You don't know how much longer Dusty is wanting to be a manager in this game.
Seriously.
But he had the best attitude. You see him. We question him all the time about some of the moves that he made. Why did he leave McCullers in the game? He told McCullers, you have to wear this one for the team. I got to leave you out there.
That's
And they had to do it because you wanted to make sure that bullpen, who, by the way, had a 0.83 ERA throughout this postseason. Best ever in the game.
Ever.
He managed that perfectly. When you had Verlander and he had that opportunity, you saw when Verlander finally was in position to get that win, the hug in the dugout and the embrace with Dusty, because Dusty told him, "You're my guy. I'm going to stay with you. Even though people are going to give me crap about it, you're going to be able to smile one day at the end of this." Right. And everybody's going up to him and saying, "We're going to do this for you." And he told them, "Hey, man, do it for yourselves too, because we all going to enjoy this party."
That's what's up.
We're all going to enjoy this party. We remember at the very beginning of the season, people were questioning him. Is this Pena kid going to be it? What are you going to do with the center field position? You got opportunities to go and get these free agents. What's next for you? Verlander coming back from that injury. Is this going to be it? Everybody knew that this team was talented, especially Dusty. Dusty knew. He stayed the course the entire time. And you just sit back and you look at his career and what he was able to do and how many games he coached and all the teams. And he was the perfect person to come in to replace A.J. Hinch when everybody was coming after the Astros. He's like, hold up. Y'all need to take it easy. We got these, Hey, there's been a lot of things in this game that I have seen. You can't say this, you can't say that. He's done a lot. His managerial record, 2,000 wins, 2,093 wins, 1,700 losses, 1,790 to be exact. Oh, he's got a 53% winning percentage as a major league manager. He's managed the Giants. He's managed the Cubs. He's managed the Reds. He managed the Nationals. And now he's the manager for the Houston Astros, where he now can call himself a World Series champion. He was a NLCS MVP in 1977. He was a Gold Glove winner in 1981. He won 2 Silver Sluggers, and he was Manager of the Year 3 times. Give Dusty his flowers now. Oh, by the way, and I know I've told this story before, when Hank Aaron hit the home run that passed Babe Ruth.
Yeah, this is crazy.
Dusty Baker was on deck, giving him a high five, probably with a toothpick in, ready to party with him. He says the story all the time that he was raised in the big leagues by Ralph Gard Sr., who I played with Ralph Gard Jr., and he was raised by Hank Aaron. Those guys put him under his wing, and they took care of him the entire time. So he was very proud when he finally got that win.
Wild,
and if you haven't seen the video of him in the dugout, no, the dancing was great.
Dancing was, I was like, oh, wow.
But just to let you know about his detail and how meticulous he was with it, the ball was hit up in right field. Tucker's running to it. Everybody's sitting there ready to party. Dusty's in his scorebook writing F9 down because he was that detail-oriented, and he wanted to make sure that he kept a perfect scorebook. That's what it's all about. That is why I'm so happy for him, because this guy has seen everything in this game, the good, the bad when he was playing in the big leagues with Hank Aaron, where he saw the hate mail that Hank was getting, all the road trips where they couldn't go certain places because of the way that the world was living at that time, to now he's grown up in this game. He's raised a lot of guys. He's probably coached half the kids' parents, within this organization, or coached against some of them, and he continues to be the leader of that organization. As I told you, he came in when the world was on their back. You've been talking about it, Rod, how everybody hates the Astros like the Yankees.
They do now.
But they've had my man Dusty Baker, Cool Hand Luke, sitting in there with the toothpick, the batting gloves, and, of course, his wristbands. But I do have a question for y'all.
Wow.
His real name is not Dusty Baker. What do you think his real name is? Did you see this?
I have not.
He's an old black man, too.
OG.
Yeah.
It could be anything,
I know,
right?
that's what I'm saying. It could be anything, man. You could be anything from old Lester to something. It could be anything,
You close,
man.
though.
What
you
is
close.
it?
It's Johnny.
Johnny.
Johnny B.
Okay.
Johnny B.
He's a Johnny.
Dusty Baker Jr.
Is he a John, like a Jonathan?
No,
Or,
it's Johnny.
like Johnny is the name, not Jonathan?
No. Johnny.
Not John, and we call him Johnny?
Johnny.
Like on the birth certificate, Johnny.
Johnny.
Yeah,
That
that's
is
it's like Larry Bird. Ain't Lawrence Bird. His name is Larry Bird.
Larry Bird.
It's a white version of that.
It's a good point. It's like, Lawrence? No,
No,
Larry.
listen,
Larry.
Larry. Straight up. Larry.
Hey, what's your kid? What's that 1-year-old's name? Larry.
That's a great point. He was a 1-year-old Larry at one point. Yeah, that's crazy.
What's his
There's a
name? His name
1-year-old
Bobby?
Johnny.
No, is his name Robert or is his name Bobby?
No, yeah.
No, my name is Bobby.
Wow. Man, that's
Yeah.
crazy. Dusty basically has been the Forrest Gump of
Absolutely.
baseball.
You know how you always talk about the 3 degrees of separation
Yeah.
or 6 degrees of separation? Dusty Baker is he is that.
He is that.
I've had friends who have been to his vineyard out in California
Wow.
that have drank with him and didn't know anything about the baseball. You know what I'm saying?
Just
They were
knew him as a vineyard
as
guy.
a vineyard guy. It's like, no, man, I'm a professional baseball manager.
That is great.
You know, it's just it's
Yeah.
a good story, and I'm glad that we have this happy ending for him because this is one of those guys that truly deserve to have a World Series championship because he's such a good manager, even when everyone is questioning him.
Yeah, no, man, that's good stuff. That's something I didn't know about. 2 things I didn't know about Dusty.
Yep.
Did not know at one point he wore wristbands with his own face on them.
Yep.
And did not know his actual legal name is Johnny. Johnny.
With IE at the end of it, not even a Y. He don't have a Y. It's IE.
He's a real life Johnny B.
He's a real life Johnny B.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Johnny BB.
Johnny B. Yeah,
Johnny BB.
Oh, man, that's good stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
I love that. Love hearing stuff about Dusty. And the texter says here, they agree. They said, love you, Rod. So with you, if he wasn't mine, I'd be clowning for sure. Yeah, I think we'd all clown Dusty if he wasn't ours, but Dusty's ours, baby. So
Hey, that's
I'm proud
somebody's
of.
uncle out there, grandpa out there. What's up, Paw?
How many managers walk up on the post game when they're on the podium getting the trophy and they go, "What's next for you, Dusty?" And he goes, "The party."
And how old is Dusty again?
73.
Wow.
OG out there getting it in still, man.
Years young, too,
Yeah.
man, because he's got a youthful kind of energy about him.
Yep.
And I obviously still able to relate to all those guys in that dugout. All right. Thanks, Harge, for the Harge Knock Life. We come back. We got to talk about a great Houstonian, another great Houstonian, Mattress Mac. And Mattress Mac, hey, you know what? Good things,
Yup.
all right, come to those who are gracious and unselfish. Mattress Mac is certainly that, and he is cashing in a hell of a check today.
And cussing people out in Philly still.
You know what? Hey, we all lose grace every now and then. That's okay.
Exactly.
That's okay.
I love it.
He admitted that he lost it there for a while, but he said it was only for the strolls.
Yeah.
He said, I lost it because they talked bad on my strolls.
That's right.
Hey, man.
Represent.
He just got more street cred. It's like when VY punched that dude at the strip club for throwing the horns
Throwing the
down. We're
horns
like,
down.
you shouldn't have done that, VY, but I love you for it.
Exactly.
All right, we'll come right back with Off the Record right here on Baldo Loud, 104.9 The Horn. Hey, what's up, folks? Lifetime Longhorn Rod Babers here. Now, we all know that time is money. You're going to learn that lesson sooner or later. Hopefully, you learn it sooner rather than later when you're much younger. My friends at Apple Leasing, they understand this very hard lesson that time is money, and they want to save you both. It's baked into their business model. They're going to save you time, they're going to save you money, but they're also going to find you value. You hear us talk about value a lot on the show, whether talking about the draft or acquisitions in football or baseball or basketball. Value is key, but it's also key in what Apple Leasing can do for you. They have the ability to put you in any make or model vehicle that you want. The professionals over at Apple Leasing can help you get the price you want, the payment you want on the car that you want. All it takes is one phone call or one click on Apple Leasing's website, and you'll get a quote on any make or model vehicle that you want. They can even give you an estimate on the value of your trade-in right over the phone. See, Apple Leasing's simple interest, easy lease makes everything, well, simple because it allows them to have a lot more flexibility, so it gives you more possibilities and options to help you find the vehicle that fits you best, but more importantly, the vehicle that fits your budget best. We know inflation inflation is out of control. It's through the roof. It's never been more expensive to buy a new car, buy a used car, or buy anything for that matter. So leasing makes more sense than ever. You're only paying for the part of the car you're actually using. So call Apple Leasing today at 512-346-9977 and let them see how much money they can save you. They get all the same discounts, all the same incentives that the dealers do, except my friends at Apple Leasing, they pass those savings right on to you, the customer. So give them a call and stop the dealership dance from one dealer to another. Let Apple Leasing work for you. 512-346-9977 or visit appleleasing.com. That's appleleasing.com. All right, welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. Time for another edition of Off the Record. And gentlemen, Mattress Mac, the legend, a modern-day saint in H-Town, he is cashing in on a 75, an estimated, I guess they don't know, but they said this $75 million payout on his bet for the Astros. I think he put $3 million on the Astros to win the World Series at 10-1. Along with another $1 million at WinBet too. Then later in the season, he dropped $2 million at BetMGM at 5-1, with another $2 million at Barstool. Finally, he spent $1 million each at Unibet and Betfred. But no book will pay out more than Caesars, who takes a $30 million hit. But total, all those bets, yeah, the man likes to bet. All those bets are gonna total a payout, guys, of close to $75 million, giving a Mattress Mac the largest payout in U.S. sports betting history. Wow,
Think about that.
$75 million.
$75 million, and that is
So $30 million is the biggest single bet.
Right.
But then all of it together, $75 million. It's
75.
$30 million still. I'm not
I
trusting
mean, yeah, like,
I'm not sneezing at that.
and all the people that bought furniture, it's all free for you now. You getting a check back.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, he does.
Yeah, that's how he hedge it.
Yeah, you're right
That's
about
how he
that.
hedge it.
Yeah, he's been doing that for years, man. It's a smart move by him, but $75 million payout.
$75 million.
The rich get richer, and I would say, hey, Mattress Mac, he deserves it, though. He's very gracious with his money, especially in H-Town.
Oh, yeah.
Does a really good job. So shout out to Mattress
He's there
Mac.
for the people, for sure.
No, he is.
He let people stay there during the hurricane.
Yeah, he did.
Come and stay here. And Joel Osteen wouldn't open up his place.
And Joel Osteen Church is the former Summit.
Yeah.
Where the
Exactly.
Oh, it used to be.
where the
Yeah.
No,
Rockets
it
used-
was, and then they went
They
to a
built a
bigger
new
place.
one now.
The
Yeah.
summit wasn't big
Lakewood
enough. They
now.
went to another place.
Oh yeah.
No, so he did the summit for a while,
Yeah.
but it was not big enough. So he
Okay.
built a bigger place.
Yeah,
Wow.
bigger place than the Summit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Where the Rockets used to play. One championship.
One championship.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. So yeah, there you go. Mattress Mac. Once again, man, showing you that if you put your money where your mouth is, you can win a lot of straight cash, homie.
Love it.
One of the other stories that you sent to us, Harge, was and we'll talk a lot about Aaron Rodgers, obviously, this week because the Cowboys are facing the Green Bay Packers on the road at Green Bay. But apparently Lil Wayne is no longer an Aaron Rodgers fan.
He is not an Aaron Rodgers fan, and he's fed up. He's fed up with Aaron Rodgers and all of his nonsense.
He's not the only one.
You're right.
He ain't the only one.
You're right.
A lot of people fed up with that.
What was he smoking? That ashwagandha or whatever it was
that
called?
ayahuasca?
Ayahuasca?
That ayahuasca, man.
Ashwagandha's in my CBD. Just FYI.
That good stuff,
That
man.
good.
Yeah.
But yes, I sit here and I look at this and I just don't understand the fall from grace for Aaron Rodgers, and this is something that he pretty much did to himself, right?
If Lil Wayne a Green Bay fan?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Lil Wayne's from New Orleans.
But Lil Wayne has been a Green Bay Packer fan
Well, it doesn't
his
seem right, does it?
entire
so wait,
life.
is he a Green Bay Packers fan because of Brett Favre or because of Aaron Rodgers? Because that's the two reasons you're a Green Bay Packers fan.
It just doesn't seem right. Doesn't seem
So,
like he
I
should be a
don't
New
know.
Orleans
I don't
fan.
know who he's tied to, but he's a huge Packers fan.
I can give him he's a Packers fan. I'm just saying he
Yeah.
might have become a Packers fan because of Aaron Rodgers, and now he's throwing Aaron Rodgers under the bus.
He did
Right.
say R.I.P. He tweeted out R.I.P. to the season. We should have gotten rid of 12 before the season.
Either that or he's a Brett Favre fan, and that's not a great position to have anymore right now.
Yeah, I'm with you. I assumed Weezy was a New Orleans fan.
Weezy F baby, please don't say Packers.
I
He's
mean-
not part of it no more.
So I guess, is he like Patrick now? He's renounced his fandom of the Packers. He's gonna go back to being a Saints fan.
Hey,
He
I did
might
not
be.
do it because of bad seasons. I stuck around for plenty of bad seasons with the
Well,
Texans.
no, that's true. Good point. No, you're a man of great character. You're a fan of good character.
He was like, I'm over that.
But Weezy, yeah, I didn't even know he was an Aaron Rodgers fan.
Yeah.
Because I'm with Patrick. I don't think you're a Green Bay fan. I think you're more of an Aaron Rodgers fan.
You
It's
have to
Aaron
be
Rodgers
To
or
be a
Brett
Green Bay
Favre.
fan,
Or if it was when he was younger, it was Brett Favre.
yeah.
So
It
it's
have
like
to
that's
be,
your
right?
two guys.
Yeah, it would have to be because of that. Because I haven't heard the reason why, but he has been a Green Bay Packer fan. Every time you see him with Skip and Shannon, he's talking about the Green Bay Packers. He's been talking about them for a long time.
Who's his basketball team? Whoever LeBron plays for? Who's his basketball team? Do we know that?
No.
I would like to know. Now I need to know my because Drake doesn't have really a team.
He's a
Drake
groupie.
Drake roots for any team that's balling out
That's
of control.
winning.
He's-
That's
he roots
winning.
for-
He's a Raptors fan, I think, first and foremost. But then he's still.
I think he's ownership of Raptors.
So maybe the only team he'll root for that he doesn't really share his fandom with is the Raptors.
Maybe.
Yeah.
You don't see
Does he
him
have a
root-
CFL team?
Maybe he's a Canadian.
Yeah.
So
Maybe
maybe
he
he's
has
got a
a
CFL. Hopefully it's the Tango Cats because
I was gonna
a
say,
former
that's
Tango
who you
Cat.
were, right?
I would love for him to
Hamilton.
be a Tiger. He was probably an organized fan though. Toronto. Probably.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's a guy all about the six.
I
Yeah,
like
probably
that.
so. Okay. First of all, we haven't talked about this too, but the most, or the least, maybe I say the least talked about 7-1 team in the NFL. The
Minnesota Vikings. Yeah.
Nobody talks about the Minnesota Vikings.
Not at all. Remember, I told you it was part of my power rankings. They're up there, but no, they like it because nobody's talking about them.
Nobody's talking. Kirk Cousins is now dancing on planes with gold chains on.
Iced
out.
They don't shortchange the
swag.
ice. Yeah, he's swagged out.
You know what I mean? So watching out for Minnesota now. That's something too. But yeah, I didn't know Weezy was a Green Bay fan.
Yeah.
Random. All right, we come back. We'll talk Texas football. Apparently, there's some recruiting buzz that we got to let you guys know about. We'll get into that, too, coming up on the other side. But also, we'll review Texas beating K-State on the road. Big win. First top 15 win for Sark. Second true road win in his tenure here at Texas. Big move and big moment for them. So we'll talk about that. Also, we'll hear from Sark in his Monday presser. We'll also hear from him from the post game that he had this past weekend. All of that and more right here on Ball Don't Lie on 104.9 The Horn. Hey, what's up, folks? Lifetime Longhorn Rod Babers here. Let me tell you about my friends over at Twin Peaks, because this weekend, I know a lot of you out there got a chance to enjoy your football festivities, your football watching. Well, if you watched it at Twin Peaks, trust me, folks, your college football Saturdays and your NFL Sundays were that much better. As a matter of fact, we were just hanging out at Twin Peaks on Friday, hung out at Twin Peaks, the Round Rock location, and it was great. Enjoyed one of those 29-degree man-sized drafts, and I had a Bud Light, but for you, it can be whatever beer that you like to enjoy, whatever beer of your choosing, to enjoy that man-sized draft there at Twin Peaks. But what I love about Twin Peaks, even more than the really cold 29-degree draft beers, also the menu, folks. It is fantastic. Every delicious dish on the menu is made from scratch. If you're thinking about a new favorite spot for lunch or for dinner or for those late-night eats, don't forget about Twin Peaks. They have a scratch menu. Every delicious dish on the menu is made from scratch. So, folks, trust me, you hang out at Twin Peaks, doesn't matter what the meal may be, lunch or dinner, you won't regret it. Don't forget about their happy hour as well. It is back and better than ever. Whatever your preference, they have everything from tequila cocktails and extensive bourbon category to top shelf spirits and cocktails served over ice balls, local craft beers, and handcrafted whiskey cocktails round out an adventurous drink menu second to none. And don't forget about Twin Peaks 29-degree man-sized drafts. Like I said, that's a great way to kind of set the Twin Peaks mood, if you will. Also, don't forget about that Twin Peaks e-club. You can sign up there at twinpeaksrestaurant.com, get all types of free stuff, but also they'll keep you updated on everything happening at your local Twin Peaks, the San Marcos location, the Round Rock location, or the Stastny location. That's Twin Peaks, eats, drinks, and scenic views. Welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. Smooth Soul Monday. Usually, my man Patrick's trying to soothe the tortured soul of some sports fan who had to deal with their team catching the L over the weekend. Not the case for Longhorn fans. Longhorn fans right now still buzzing from Texas getting a big win over K-State over the weekend at K-State on the road. Sark's second true road win of his tenure here at Texas. It was big. Actually, his first big win over a top 15 team, too. So you definitely can call it a signature win. And if it's a signature win, it'd be the first one for Sark since he's been here at Texas. So we'll hear from Steve Sarkisian from his Monday press conference. You heard it live right here on 104.9 The Horn, 11-ish, like you do every Monday during the season. But, Harge, before we get to that, and we'll get to, obviously, breaking down Texas K-State here in a second, and I'll continue that in Raj Round the Day, by the way. So you got two segments, just straight Texas football going behind the burnt orange curtain. There's some recruiting buzz that is just taking over Longhorn Twitter that we at least got to throw out there a little bit.
Yeah.
So earlier today, and forgive me, recruiting nicks out there if I don't get every detail correct here, but I believe an Oklahoma inside recruiting analyst, an Oklahoma insider, his name is Parker Thune, I guess. He entered a 247 Sports crystal ball prediction on earlier today for Colton Vasek, and he's a Sooner guy, right? He covers Sooner recruiting. He predicted on Monday for Vasek to flip his commitment to the Longhorns. And he has been pretty steadfast in his verbal commitment to the Sooners, even though they've been going through their share of issues. Hey, Longhorns have gone through their fair share too, by the way.
No doubt.
So people in glass houses shouldn't throw stones, that kind of thing. But yeah, a lot of people were surprised to hear a Oklahoma insider make that prediction for Colton Vasek. And then there's also been talk that his social media has kind of his social media description and has changed a little bit too. I don't follow Colton Vasek, so I apologize. I'm not cyber stalking the young man, but just kind of regurgitating some of the discussion on Twitter in the Twitterverse that he's changed his bio on some of his social media, which also referenced the Sooners at one point, no longer does.
Well, to your point, there's been more than one person within the 24/7 network that has also crystal ball Colton Vasek to the University of Texas. Even Hudson Standish that we hear on the show.
Does a good job.
He does a good job. He has got him at an 8, which is very high.
Okay.
So that looks like he's there.
So something's happening.
So a lot has
some smoke.
been
There's some
changed.
smoke. We ain't seen no fire yet, but it's a lot of smoke, man.
I keep looking across the street to see if I can see some.
We should be able to see it.
See if we can see the
is
smoke.
Is it burnt orange smoke, or is it like that white smoke, when the cloud, the pope or whatever?
You got to sit there and look at all of that. Let's go back to the point of what our man Bucky Godbolt always says as a recruiter. You stay at that kid's house until he has to sign that paperwork and continue to recruit, continue to put it out there. And remember, it was Arch Manning that told him that weekend.
Very true.
Vasek went to the game with him.
What game was it? Iowa State?
I think it was the Iowa State game.
I believe it was.
I think it was too. So they all have been kind of in contact, and everybody's saying, "Come on home, because you're right around the corner."
And is he
your
legacy? I was going to say, and
yeah.
isn't he a legacy? I think that's more so for Longhorn fans. It hurts a little more that he would go to the rival as a legacy. But yeah, it looks like Colton Vasek could be potentially flipping his commitment, or at least opening up. Maybe I should say that, opening up his commitment. But that's just smoke right now. Nothing substantive. It hasn't come from that young man yet, and that's probably where we need to hear it from. Okay, also, got to throw this out there because Longhorn fans are buzzing about this too. 5-star prospect Anthony Hill has decommitted from the Aggies. Earlier today, a report confirmed from my friends over at Horns 24/7 that Denton Ryan 2023 5-star linebacker Anthony Hill will visit Texas this weekend for the TCU game. Game day is going to be in town, so we have an electric atmosphere.
Man, oh man.
It's going to be lit.
It's going to be lit.
It's lit.
It's like a flex.
So that also is happening, and there are a lot of folks that believe that if he's opening up his commitment, I won't read his entire statement, but that means the Longhorns they're in the running.
Yep.
Along with other schools, I'm sure, but the Longhorns
Absolutely.
are one of those schools that would be in the running for Anthony Hill, who is considered by some to be the best defensive prospect in the state.
As a linebacker, and that's one of the positions you and I have been talking about the entire time.
Hey, man, look at Jalen Ford.
Exactly.
Development, young man.
That's the selling point
that
right
guy
there.
was a 3-star that could
Yes.
end up becoming Defensive Player of the Year in the Big 12.
Speaking
You
of
wanna
that, he
sell?
got Player of the Week. He got Player of the Week, Defensive Player of the Week for
He
the
deserves
second
it.
time.
And he deserves it, by
Yeah.
the way. So he could end up being Defensive Player of the Year. And to your point, Harge, that's I just lay down that that
Exactly.
example of, oh man, we can develop linebackers here. We'll turn you, and I think DeMarvion Overshawn will end up being an NFL linebacker. Now
sure.
it looks like Jalen Ford is an NFL caliber linebacker.
He's going
as
to put
well.
himself in the conversation now.
Man, he's certainly putting himself in that conversation, quick, fast, in a hurry.
Yeah, he's playing some really good football
So
right now.
if the Longhorns can, really kind of catalyze this momentum that they have going right now from the K-State win, carry it over to TCU and get a win over a top 5 team, be the first time since 1999 that would have happened, you can be talking about a windfall of recruiting momentum to back that up.
That's a huge, huge get.
That
So
would be
if that happens.
That might put them over the top as. Whew.
Well, think about
be
it.
it.
When we were talking about Vasek before, the lean that he has, that leverage that he's been able to play with. I got a chance to watch him play in that Lake Travis game.
Okay.
He was causing problems on every single play. He may not have gotten there on the play, but he was causing problems and disrupting every drop back, every run. And he was making some of those plays because he's so long with his arms, his reach is so good that he's just swiping people and getting them down to the ground.
Yeah, no, you're right. He's a freak. He want to try to compile and try to be able to stockpile as many of those guys as you can in their recruiting class, and that's what Texas is trying to do. Let's get back to the Texas team, at the one right now, the one at present, because they just had a huge moment of growth by being able to beat a top 15 team on the road. Yes, they had a double-digit lead. Yes, they had a lead at halftime. Yes, they had a fourth-quarter lead. And for a while, it got tight there and it got interesting. But Texas found a way to get the victory, and I think that's the growth that we're talking about. They found a way to make enough plays in clutch time to get the win at K-State. Harsh, to me, my biggest, and obviously we have a lot of different layers to this thing we could break down, but to me, I think the biggest factor in them winning the game, obviously, Bijan Robinson. I mean, they just put Bijan on at 30 rushes, 209 rushing yards, 120 of those came after contact.
That's what I was about to say.
8 missed tackles for us. He now has 781 rush yards after contact. That is first in the Power 5. 73 forced missed tackles. That is also first in the Power 5. And K-State rush defense, it wasn't no punk. They were allowing only 133 rushing yards per game in total. Bijan had 149 at halftime.
Letting you know what's going down.
Man, he put it on. I don't think there's anybody this year has made that K-State defense look so helpless. Now, he did it for a half, and they made adjustments. But that first half, that's where the game was won, and it was won on the back of Bijan.
Hey, he made it happen, and he continued to make it happen. It was play after play. Anytime he touched the ball, and the thing about it is his elusiveness in a small space.
Yeah.
He's making people miss, and you talked about it earlier, Rob, when you talked about the Texas Tech game. That was the first time somebody one-on-one
They
got
hit him clean.
They hit, he didn't make him miss.
It's rare.
And that was a very rare look. But every time I look at Bijan and the way he starts to get going throughout the game, he's one of those guys that if he gets the ball consistently, he's going to put up positive numbers every single time. You know, we always talk about people getting lathered up. You got to be ready to go. That kid is ready to go from the very first play. We saw it when he got into the hole and he made that long run, that great run, the first one. But we also saw it on the screen pass. We saw how elusive he was and how his vision and the way he sets up his blockers, and he also sets up those defenders.
He does.
It's a beautiful thing. And now the conversation is being changed.
It is.
He's now becoming one of those guys. You have to put him in the Heisman Trophy conversation. We talked about it at the beginning of the year, Rod, and you said if he's not up for awards, they failed him. Now he's getting to the point where now they're starting to use him, and now he's showcasing his abilities.
Yeah, that guy should be in New York.
Yep.
As a Heisman finalist. He should also be winning national awards, which I think he will, and he should also end up being the first running back drafted. He should be all three. I don't know if he'll be all three, but
Right.
he should at least be two of those three.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or something went horribly wrong because he is just that good. He's the first player, I should say, to rush for back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons since Vince Young.
Mm-hmm.
So he's obviously doing some things that haven't been done on the 40 acres before. And yeah, I think Sark has found the recipe, right? He's got 2 true road wins since he came to Texas. One at TCU, Purple Kryptonite, and then one at K-State. And those are also
Purple
the only
Kryptonite.
exactly only 2 games where Bijan has rushed the football for at least 30 rushes in a game. So I think total he ended up with 65 rushes in the 2 true road wins combined for Sark. If you look at it totally, I think in totality he has 69 touches in that TCU game last year on the road. The Texas got the win, and the K-State win this past weekend for 481 yards, 6.9 yards per touch. In those road wins. And yeah, you had the ride. Like I said, 69 touches. That's a lot. You're talking about 34 plus touches per game on the road. But I do believe for Sark, this year, this is going to be your recipe to win on the road.
It has to be.
You got to slather it in Bijan. Put some Bijan on it.
Because we know you played well at home thus far. You seem to show up when Texas plays at home, and their energy's a little bit different. But when you're going into these big games, and we said, he talked about it too, everybody remembers what you do in November. That was a good start to November. You got the dub. You got out to a good lead. And I talked about if you score first, you got a good chance of winning the game because K-State, when they score, they win the game.
Yeah.
They have not lost a game when they scored first this year. So there was a lot that was going into that, and that was going through my mind. But you got a guy that you said, we're going to put it on your back. He did it. He ran the ball hard. He was very effective in the passing game. They only got it to him twice in the passing game.
Yeah.
But that one big play at the very beginning when you ran the screen play, that was something that I thought you were talking about it earlier too, Rod. Why would you have success with something and not come back with it? I just don't understand that part of it either.
I don't remember seeing it again, honestly.
Right. I didn't.
Yeah.
Not to him.
Yeah,
not to him, where he made that play. And those are some of the things that I'm like, nah, I didn't see Worthy in the backfield again either. Why have we not put him back out there? We needed to do that some more. There's certain things that you can bring back and use them in the second half.
Yeah.
Those are successful plays.
Yeah. No, Sark is not big on, as I call, playing the hits. He doesn't play the hits very often. Things that hit on in the first half, you should probably just bring them back in the second half. That also would be something that could help out Sark with the second half play calling, which we'll get back to that conversation too. But let's hear from Sark because it's a big week, of course, facing TCU, top 5 team. You got game day coming to town. The big advantage for Texas, and I mean, you knew this at the beginning of the year, but now it's even more of a headline, and it's a attention-grabbing headline. You know, Gary Patterson probably can give you the most thorough scouting report on about TCU than anybody else in the country. Anybody else on your staff, nobody can give you a better scouting report on TCU, and that's a huge advantage Texas has right now with Gary Patterson being on the staff as the assistant to the head coach. Here is Steve Sarkisian earlier. He was asked, I think it was Dennis De La Pena that asked him about Gary Patterson and his impact this week when they're facing TCU. Yeah, you know, we've been talking about Gary Patterson's impact all year long, and there's no question his defense has made a tremendous turnaround, Harge. And we've talked about it, and that's another place we should go to in reviewing this Texas K-State matchup. Talking about, obviously, Gary Patterson and what he's done, and all week long we'll be talking about that impact. And I'm sure he's had an impact on this Texas rush defense overall. But Bo Davis probably should get most of the credit in terms of the coaches because he's working with those guys. And even Kendrick Coburn admitted in the postgame he owes Bo Davis a lot. Tell me he owes him a huge debt of gratitude because of the improvement that Kendrick Coburn has made. But Harge, when you look at that K-State rushing offense, and even them starting Adrian Martinez, which I think was a statement by Chris Kleiman, and it was a statement by Colin Klein that the way we're going to beat Texas, we're going to beat them with our running game.
Right.
And we believe the best way to beat Texas is to beat them with the ground game. I think that's the statement they make. 'Cause they had a Will Howard over there, and if they wanted to throw Will Howard out there, I think it would have been a statement as to the way that they wanted to beat Texas. They
Right.
believe was the best way to beat Texas was to exploit Texas in the passing game. They didn't do that. They wanted to run the rock, which I think was a mistake.
I do too.
Because Texas' rush defense has been stout all year long.
They haven't given up 100 yards on the ground.
They haven't given up a 100-yard rusher.
To a rusher,
all year long.
Yeah.
And you brought that up even before the game. And I think, by the time I got to Friday, I'd been saying, you know what, I changed my mind if I was preparing for Texas. I'd rather see Adrian Martinez,
Yep.
and I don't want to see Will Howard.
Agreed.
And that K-State, if they were going to play Texas and try to beat Texas by exploiting their weaknesses and vulnerabilities, that they should have started Will Howard because he can throw. And you beat Texas. You beat Texas by throwing the football. You don't beat Texas by trying to run on Texas.
You can't run
Texas
it down their
is
throats.
one of the best run defenses in the country, if not one of the best, in the Big 12. So I do think that they made a miscalculation there. And that's why I think Texas and that Texas defensive front, behind Bijan, they're probably the second most important factor in you winning this game because they held Deuce Vaughn in that running attack for K-State to 3.9 yards per rush. That's their second lowest output of the season in terms of yards per carry.
And that was after the first quarter because that first quarter they were getting to where they wanted to go. Because remember, we were sitting there because the way that he was getting through the line of scrimmage, he had 7 rushes for 43 yards. And his long was 11, and he had 6.1 yards per carry. And even Adrian Martinez, who had the 3 rushes for 22 yards, he had 7.3 yards to start off the game. But that was just the first quarter. And going back to your point, team made adjustments. They started smothering them and getting in the backfield. They started getting that pressure upfield. As our man Kenny Sims said, it's okay to put the face on them.
It's okay to smash some face.
It's okay
to still smash some face, man.
That's right. They were getting after it. So that was a good thing and a good adjustment. And I'm with you, Rob. When we first thought Adrian Martinez was going to be the starting quarterback, because we saw it right before kickoff, we were like, okay, hold up. What are they seeing that we're not seeing?
They see
that
they
we've
want to
been
run the
talking
rock.
about? And they wanted to run the rock. But you look at Adrian Martinez, he threw for 329 yards throughout.
He did.
Yeah.
Well, imagine what Will Howard would have done.
Oh, I know.
Because Will Howard, as we all agree, much better passer than Adrian Martinez. And my thing was, I think if they knew they were going to be throwing the ball that much, they'd have started the more capable passer.
And I think the reason, too, they thought their defense was going to be able to hold Texas, and we went through it.
That's
we
true.
just saw what their defense did. It was eight plays, 75 yards, 8 plays, 75 yards, 8 plays, 75 yards, all touchdowns. And that is when they were like, we got to start throwing the football now.
No, you're right. It's a good point. Because and then they had the targeting calls, so they had one of the starters.
They lost their starter.
They lost one of the starting safeties. And Texas averaged 8.5 yards per play on the first 3 possessions. And that's where Texas basically won the game, was in the first half.
Yeah.
They won it, and they were
literally
coming
in the first half.
Yeah, and coming off a bye week.
Yep.
Give Sark some credit. He had a great game plan dialed up, and once again proving that Texas rarely loses the battle of game plan and preparation to any opponent.
Yeah.
What's happening to Sark and the coaches is they're losing the battle of adjustments. They're losing the chess match within the game. Doesn't always mean you lose the game, but they're definitely being outplayed and outcoached probably the entire second half overall as a team.
Yeah.
But plays are being made. Jalen Ford. Plays are being made. Keontae Coburn.
Yeah, that's right.
Plays are being made. So that's what you got to do. I mean, at one point, we're starting to see guys step up and make individual clutch plays in clutch time.
Yeah.
We saw it now with State game. That's what won the game for them there. That and a heavy dose of Bijan and Rojo. And even in this game, it was a heavy dose of Bijan.
Yep.
But then ultimately, you just needed some of your leaders to step up and make a damn play.
And they did.
And he did.
And they did.
They can. I mean, and that's why Adrian Martinez, usually very careful with the football.
Yes.
Texas turned him over.
Yeah.
Turned him over twice, but also should have had more.
Yeah, there was some balls that were dropped too.
And he had a couple of strips.
Yep,
Some strips in there that Texas just couldn't. Obviously, the ball doesn't bounce their way all the time. But I thought Texas did I thought Texas had a great game plan ready for Adrian Martinez. And you talked about this, Harsh. We don't know. We know Texas had a game plan for Will Howard and for Adrian Martinez, but we don't know what that Will Howard game plan was.
Right.
And I wondered at one time if they were going to go, let's see what that Will Howard game plan is.
And that was
And
one of
they
my
never did
biggest
it.
questions, too.
They
It's like,
never
how
did
did you not try it.
I'd have tried it.
You would. I mean,
He
you
wasn't
were
kill-
sputtering.
Martinez wasn't killing it.
No,
he
you were
was
sputtering.
Yeah, you were sputtering. I thought they were going to do it. They never did.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing, and I was like, oh, let's see what he's doing. But he's standing there, and our man CB saying he believes that they were trying to preserve his red shirt, but you need to win games.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, you already in there, but this was an opportunity for you.
No, listen, Texas had a great game plan ready for Adrian Martinez, and give Texas a ton of credit because they made him look pedestrian.
Yeah.
I mean, we know he's an elite runner with the football. He did not. He made some plays. He scrambled, made some plays. I'm not saying he didn't make plays, but he did not overwhelm Texas with his legs. And Texas was able to make enough plays defending the pass in Adrian Martinez. But my concern would be that they had a more capable passer in there. They probably would have made more plays in the passing game too. So we'll get back to, obviously, because I want to get into some of these second half woes.
Please.
That Texas has been dealing with. They found a way to get the dub. That's the growth. All right. The continued growth and evolution and development of the team will be, all right, now how do you play a second half as good as you played the first half, or how do you just play a 4-quarter game?
Yeah.
Because they're still a 3-quarter team for the most part. They won that game without playing all 4 quarters.
Yeah, because there was a lot of action that was going on in the first 2.
Exactly.
And then we had to figure out the last 2.
So what we want is all 3 phases playing all 4 quarters.
Absolutely.
And have we had that so far this year for Texas?
Yeah.
I don't know if we have all 3 phases played all 4 quarters yet.
Man.
I think they've been close. They've had like all 3 phases play 3.5 quarters.
Right.
But they had all 3 phases play 4 quarters.
How do I get some change for the 4
You
quarters?
want all 4.
Yeah, I want all
and
4.
They were close. They were close. They're getting closer to having the complete game.
Yeah, no
That's
doubt.
the growth. All right, so we come back. We'll talk about the second half woes, but we're not. Hey, we can talk second half woes when we got a dub.
We got a dub.
When you're talking about a dub, Robbie ain't gonna be screaming about second half woes. I'm gonna have a nice, cool, calm conversation about these second half woes, and it's like, oh, it's all good.
Yeah.
We're gonna get past it. 'Cause I can see the light at the other end of the tunnel.
I see it.
They
It's
can see it.
flickering
It's right there.
I didn't know
see
if it was a train
All right?
last time I
Yeah.
saw it, but now it might be an actual light.
Yeah, see? It ain't Flavor Aid, it's Kool-Aid.
There it
When
is.
you're getting the dub. All
There
right,
it
so we're
is.
going to drink a little Kool-Aid while we talk about these second half woes for Texas. Also, I'm already doing research about TCU. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling like Texas can beat TCU. I know they're undefeated, but they are beatable. We know they're beatable because they've been down double digits in most of their games. So how does Texas beat TCU? I'm already doing research, already breaking it down. We'll talk about that on the other side in Rod's Rant of the Day right here on Ball Don't Lie on 104.9 The Horn. Hey, what's up, folks? Lifetime Longhorn Rod Babers here. Hey, let me tell you about my friends over at Steiner Ranch Steakhouse. Well, I want to remind you, they have the best views along with the most exquisite cuisine and the best service of any restaurant in Central Texas. I don't have to remind you about that. I don't have to remind you about how fantastic the experience here is at Steiner Ranch Steakhouse, and that's why I love the Steiner Ranch Steakhouse experience. Well, now you can bring that Steiner Ranch Steakhouse experience home for the holidays, folks. It happens every Thanksgiving, all right? Once that last piece of pumpkin pie has been sliced, everyone sits around the food coma. They're fat, they're full, they're happy, but that's when you got to ask those dreaded words, who's cleaning all this up? You don't have to worry about that, folks. This year, let Steiner Ranch Steakhouse take care of the food so you can take care of the family. They got a Thanksgiving Day feast prepared by the executive chefs there at Steiner Ranch Steakhouse, and they have a heat and serve menu that allows you to choose what items you would like to be prepared by the skilled chefs at Steiner Ranch Steakhouse, and think of it as your own personal chef for the holidays thanks to Steiner Ranch Steakhouse. You can enjoy a Texas hickory smoked turkey or smoked prime rib, both smoked to perfection, feeding up to 20 people. That's right. You ain't got to worry about all the hassles and the stress of the holidays and making sure that all the food is cooked and also having to entertain family. Forget all that. You just worry about entertaining the family, having a good time. Let my friends at Steiner Ranch Steakhouse take care of the hard part, which is the food. And they do that really well. You can pair their main items up with those great side items, succulent sides like the lobster mac and cheese, which, oh Oh, my favorite. My mouth is watering just talking about it. Sweet potato casserole and that bourbon chocolate pecan pie completes a Thanksgiving feast the family will enjoy. Plus, you don't have to cook or worry about cleaning up the kitchen. That's the best part of it. So order your Steiner Ranch Thanksgiving feast by November 19th online at SteinerSteakhouse.com. That's SteinerSteakhouse.com. Limited quantities available. All right, welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. I want to start getting into a little TCU talk here, but first I want to talk about the Texas second half issues. As a matter of fact, Corey, can we have cut 5 ready to go? Start talking about his second half offense on his Monday press conference. You heard it live right here on 104.9 The Horn. And Sark is not ignoring it, by the way, and I don't think he gets offended by people asking about it. I think he understands it's an issue. He doesn't want it to take away from the growth and the accomplishments that the team has been able to kind of, so far this year that they've been able to garner. But he understands that the narrative right now surrounding his coaching and his play calling have to do with his inability to adjust in the second half. And I've been following this for a long time, you guys know, because I've been talking about it since last season. And I think I know what it was. It's my same theory as last season. I don't think it's changed that much. But I do think for Sark, he needs to, if he hasn't already, start coming up with creative solutions to solve this problem. Because now it's, like I said, 1 time is an outlier, 2 times is coincidence, 3 times is a trend, 4 times is a pattern, 5 times that's habitual, man. That's just who you are. Mm-hmm. And right now, Sark, as a play caller, is arguably the best play caller in the country in the first half. And then he's arguably one of the worst play callers in the country in the second half. It's crazy. I mean, he is like literally a tale of 2 play callers in the first half and the second half. And this is now over 2 seasons. So not that Sark hadn't gotten better. Sark has improved a lot as a head coach and even as a play designer and a coordinator. But still, I think he has a lot of growth to to start winning the battle of adjustments within the game. And I don't know exactly how you improve on that either. I'm not saying that I know exactly what he needs to do. I'm just identifying what the problem is, and I think everybody has done that. Well, here's Sark in his Monday presser earlier today talking about the second half woes offensively that have plagued this team. All right, now he's right about that. There were some self-inflicted wounds, and I believe in the second half, Texas had 3 different drives out of their 5 drives in the second half where they had to go 1st and 15 because of a penalty, a pre-snap penalty by the offense. So that is an issue, but that hasn't been the one, kind of outlier issue in this game that did affect Texas negatively in the second half. In addition to all of the, second half, second half offensive issues you've had, that's just in addition to it. So I don't necessarily think that the penalties, although they're a problem, I don't think they're systemic. I don't think that's something that has existed that I have actually been found as something as a common denominator with all the losses that Texas had, either when they're up big in the second half or up at halftime or up in the fourth quarter and end up either losing those games or losing that lead. So this is my theory, and I've said it over and over again. I truly believe this is what's wrong with Sark. I just don't know why Sark becomes more conservative in the second half, but I have tracked it. And I tracked it last season, too. And last season, he actually admitted it. Last season, he admitted that the reason that he gets more conservative in the second half compared to the first half was because of his lack of trust in his players, which was somewhat understandable because it was a new system, brand new quarterbacks. And so he put a little bit on, he said, I should trust them more to do a lot of more of the exotic, elaborate concepts in the second half compared to the first half. But he said he didn't last season. Understandable. And I get it. And I was glad that he admitted that later on in the season because it actually backs up my theory as to what's wrong with Sark's offense in the second half. So, like I said, I don't know why this is the case, but I'm just giving you the what. I'm not giving you actually the why. I don't know the why. Nobody knows the why. Only he knows the why. The man in the mirror knows the why. Sark's offense is a simple offense to understand for me, a football theorist. I think of it as a gumbo, an assemblage of a lot of different conceptual signatures and force multipliers and cheat codes, tons of them. And they're formational, they're personnel packages, they are conceptual, sometimes they are tactical, strategic. But his point is he wants to overload the circuitry of the defense, overload their processing unit so that they end up making mental mistakes, almost too much information for them to process prior to the snap and post-snap. That's what he does a really good job of. And he does it, like I said, formation, does a lot of different stuff. You can track it with bunch sets and condensed formations. You can track it with his pre-snap motion. You can track it with targets to motion. You can track it with RPOs. You can track it with play action pass. You can track it with the different formations, multi-back sets. You want to track it that way. You can track it with the empty formation. You can track, I actually track all these things individually. All right? And what I've noticed from the first half to the second half, in the K-State game, it seems to track. It's the same thing. From the first half, which was a magnificent first half, one of the greatest first halves of football we've ever seen in the history of Texas football. It really was. It really was. Against a really good defense, too, by the way. All right? So from the first half to the second half, I tracked and charted fewer empty formations, less pre-snap motion, less targets to motion, fewer multi-back sets, fewer 6 offensive lineman sets, the Big 12 package we always talk about, fewer RPOs, fewer deep shots. Some people say you probably should be taking fewer deep shots. But my point is that all those different things. Now, there are some things that their rates actually go up in the second half. In the K-State game, rates of play-action pass went up. Rates of your bunch sets and condensed sets did go up. So you did have 2 conceptual signatures that increased from the first half to the second half. But my theory would be, and I look at Texas-Oklahoma State game. I went and looked at it too. You had lower rates of pre-snap motion from the first half to this compared to the second half. So we have lower rates of pre-snap motion in the second half compared to the first half. Lots of less play-action pass, less bunch formation, less condensed sets, less multi-back sets, less empty formation. You get the point. Texas Tech game, fewer targets to motion, fewer multi-back sets, fewer wildcat formations, fewer 6 O-line packages, fewer empty sets, fewer bunch formations, and condensed sets. U.S. had a lower first down pass rate. He was actually trying to throw the ball and break tendency then. Fewer play-action passes as well. So my point is that you have all of these different little force multipliers, conceptual signatures, these things that he pretty much throws into a gumbo, right? And forces the defense to have to digest all this different stuff and try to do it really quickly, pre-snap and post-snap. And most of the time they end up screwing it up. Guys end up running wide open. That's the beauty of Sark's offense. Well, why would you have fewer of those conceptual signatures? Why would you have fewer cheat codes? Why would you have fewer force multipliers in the second half compared to the first half? My idea would be, first thing for Sark, just do more of all of it. Track your own rates of it. And instead of less rates of pre-snap motion, how about more? Instead of fewer targets to motion, how about more in the second half? Instead of fewer bunch formation condensed sets, how about more multi-back sets? And I know it sounds pretty simple and rudimentary, but to me, that's the DNA of his offense. His offense, people think it's all complicated because you guys haven't extrapolated every different conceptual signature like I have. And once I've extrapolated all of them and broken them down individually, I can tell you he's doing less of what makes his offense unique in the second half compared to the first half. And my question will be, why? Is it the adjustments made by the opponents? And if that's the case, why are you allowing your opponents to dictate what your offense is?
We do what we do.
Yeah, that's
what
your
he said,
first
right?
mistake if that is the case, right?
Yeah,
if you're allowing the adjustment to turn your offense into a less sophisticated version of itself and a very basic version of itself, then we got to address that. We got to psychoanalyze Sark and address that issue. So I don't necessarily think that it's the adjustments of the opponents. I think it's him. He goes into this kind of play calling shell where he's insecure and conservative compared to the first half. And I think it's all based on his script. Remember, the first half, he's got the script, 20 to 25 plays roughly that he's had all week to practice on, to design, to come up with these really creative, innovative ways to exploit the defense, and they're magnificent. But that's only for a quarter and a half of football. There's 2.5 quarters of football that's all improvisational, and most of it is just a chess match within the game, making adjustments on the fly. It's improv. It's freestyle. And I think Sark is bad at that. I don't think he has not developed that ability as a play caller to adjust on the fly and win the chess match within the game. So I think, like I said, my suggestion is he should track the rates of all of these individual cheat codes and force multipliers and increase them, all of them, from the first half to the second half. Don't allow, like I said, he has some that he does increase. Like in the Tech game, he had more pre-snap motion and RPO, higher RPO rates in the second half compared to the first half. But he still had fewer targets to motion, fewer multi-back sets, fewer wildcats, fewer 6-0 line packages, fewer empty sets, fewer bunch formations and condensed sets, fewer play action pass. Instead of less of all the things that make your offense great, do more. Just do more. Just try that one time.
We've been begging for that.
Every time I track it, the losses where he is the lead at halftime or the double-digit lead or the lead in the fourth quarter, I track less of these really unique conceptual signatures. And I'm telling you, you should just do more, not less. Mm-hmm. Why are you doing less of it? That makes your offense cool. Why are you doing less of what makes your offense tough to defend? It makes no sense at all. So that's my first suggestion. Second would be, ask Gary Patterson, assistant to the head coach, to reverse engineer every game plan you have. Give it to him. Hand it to him on Thursday or Friday and say, give me every way you would adjust to the front, to the coverage, to the pressure packages. Give me your adjustment, A, B, C, D, and E, so that you can already have creative counters ready to go in the game ahead of time. Now, will all those counters match up to what Gary Patterson gave you? No, not all of them, but some of them will. It'll at least give you a starting point to make the second half script and make the adjustments. Someone said Sark needs a ghostwriter.
Something.
Hey, it works for Drake and Kanye. You know what I mean? Like whatever it takes.
Yeah.
Right? So that's another suggestion. Second suggestion, or third, I should say. Get Brendan Marion and Kyle Flood to call your scripted plays. They're already scripted. You practice them all week long. Everybody knows those plays. You don't even need to call them. That's so autopilot.
Yeah.
Let Brendan Marion and Kyle Flood do that while you sit there and you take notes, all right? Make observations. Sit there with Gary Patterson and whoever's up in the booth and say, all right, guys, we need to come up with a second half script, and we got about a quarter and a half to do it.
Yep, get it quick.
All right, so we need to come up with our best concepts versus whatever coverages and fronts and pressure packages that they're executing, and that'll help you get at least a head start on making the adjustments. We're just throwing out suggestions. I don't know how to fix it. I'm just giving you the what. I don't know the why. I don't know the why. I don't even know the how.
Well, I think the best thing that you said was he knows the why.
Only he knows it.
And we can look at it. You can break it down. And every time I sit and I look at what's going on, the conservative part of him gets him in trouble because of the fact that he's done so well with that first script that it makes everything else look bad. You know what I'm saying? It's like
it does,
you did so good that you got us hyped.
No, I'll tell you.
And then all of a sudden it goes back to sputter.
If Sark was a student, we would accuse him of plagiarism. If he was a student handing in into you an essay, you would accuse him of plagiarism because when you asked him to write another essay in class, he couldn't do it. But when you let him go home and write the essay, it's the best essay that the teacher has ever. She's like, this is award winning.
Yes.
You're gonna win like a Pulitzer for this thing. This is amazing. You're like, could you write this right now? Could you write an essay about, the socio-economic developments in urban neighborhoods? Just really quickly, can you do that? Oh yeah, I can do it. And he doesn't. It's like, it's just crap. It's terrible. It's like, what happened? I thought you were.
Who wrote this for you?
Who wrote this? Exactly.
Who wrote this?
You would accuse him of first half plagiarism.
Yeah.
Yeah, who the hell is writing your script, Sark?
Come on, man, because this ain't the same.
It ain't the same.
It ain't translating.
It ain't translating.
It's not translating to what I see.
I don't know what's going on there, but he, like I said, that's why I am reluctant to give him the genius tag for a play caller.
Right.
He is a brilliant play designer. He is an amazing offensive coordinator and offensive mind. But to be a play caller, you have to be able to adjust on the fly. That's like 3/4 of the job.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hell, the script is only good for 25 plays. That's the first
they ain't
quarter.
grading on the curve.
That's it, man.
We need more.
Sark needs a ghostwriter. I like
That
that
was
one.
good.
That was good.
That was really good.
Someone said, yes, Sark would suck at whose line is it anyway?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure that one out.
Hey, I like that they got the dub and they're
Dubs.
making
I was gonna say
strides.
dubs.
Love the dub. But the next phase of evolution for Sark, he's got to become a better second half coach.
And he's going to be challenged in the second half this week.
Ooh,
I
the
mean,
best second half team in the country.
Exactly.
They're the best second half team in the country.
Yeah, and you better match wit for wit.
Come on
I
now.
told you about the tweet that I saw. Texas, I so believe that Texas can beat them easily, beat TCU easily. All Sark needs to do is get us up 70 at halftime. It's like, I was like,
That's
okay.
it. And you know what?
That's the game plan.
With his opening scripts, he might get close.
Right. There's no doubt about that.
His scripts are amazing, man. His scripts are amazing. I mean, he's right up there with the Coen brothers. And,
He's got
more Scorsese.
Yeah.
More Scorsese.
That's
Throw
right.
him out there, man. I mean, Tarantino,
Yeah.
his scripts are right up there with some of the best scripts in Hollywood.
Yeah, no doubt.
But the ending would suck.
It'd be like, I saw that ending coming.
That's
Man, he's so good.
Terrible
That's the
ending.
answers. Yeah.
Terrible ending. All right, we'll come back. we'll get into Texas basketball.
Yep.
It's coming up there tonight.
Hooping.
You got the opening night of Texas basketball. We'll talk about that right here on Ball Don't Lie on 104.9 The Horn.
It's your boy Hardball Harge here, and I want to talk to you about my friends over at Quick Roofing. We've been talking about all this rain and everything that's been going on, and you probably hadn't really thought about your roof, but now is the time to do that. Best thing for you to do is go to quickroofing.com. The story of Quick Roofing is pretty doggone cool. Jeff Quick started Quick Roofing with one roof in 1984. Now, 38 years later, he's got over 200,000 projects. I'm going to tell you why you need to reach out to Quick Roofing, and you need to do it today. They are giving you a free, no-obligation inspection. You get a 7-year workmanship warranty. Quick Roofing is fully insured and has all state and local licenses. Quick Roofing doesn't require any money up front until 100% completion and 100% satisfaction. Quick Roofing requires that a project manager is on every job site, ensuring that the customer is getting everything that they were promised. Make sure you reach out to Quick Roofing. Ask for my buddy Mark Baker. He's been doing this for a long time, and I was with him this past weekend, and he was talking about roofs and how excited he is about this time of year. So go and reach out to quickroofing.com. Don't be waiting around much longer. You get a free inspection. quickroofing.com.
Welcome back to Smooth Soul Monday. Oh, a little Al Green for you? Wow. That's beautiful. Man.
Gotta love it. Gotta love it.
Al Green's underappreciated. We just throw that out there randomly.
Not at my house. Not at your boy's house.
Not OG. Not the OG Harge over here. I like that. All right, Harge. You are not going to the Texas basketball game tonight, are you?
I am not going to be able to make it. We got some other things that are going on, but I will be tuning in to check out this new version, this exciting, high-flying, energetic basketball team. And here's another part of it. You know, we've been talking about second-half adjustments and being able to adhere to some of the players that you have. And that is something that I have been pushing for Chris Beard. I know he's a defensive-minded, very tough, in-your-face type of coach. But with this basketball team and the athleticism that they play with, I think it's important to let them get up and down the floor. They have
transition.
They have the type of players. And the one thing that I was very critical of last year is the fact that they didn't let that team run. And maybe it was because maybe it was because Coach Beard really wanted to grind it out, and he didn't want to get into that up and down type of basketball team because he may not have had the players that he thought he did. But this is a team that can get up and down the floor. And let's talk about it. I mean, heck, they made a bunch of three-pointers the other day, which was rare for this basketball team. That is what I want to see. I want to see the improvement on the shooting. We know they're going to play defense. I'm not worried about the defense.
Everybody in the Big 12 is playing defense.
Exactly.
You got to do something to set yourself apart.
You got to do something, and you got to be able to knock down those threes because last year they struggled with them.
They did.
They were ill-advised threes. Now it seems like they got some guys that actually know how to shoot the basketball.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of good things happening for the offense. You're right. They're going to emphasize tempo. They're going to emphasize play, try to get out in transition more, use their athleticism as the team. Texas is really athletic. But get out in transition so you don't have to even face those great half-court defenses in the Big 12.
Yep,
you don't want them to get back and get those defenses set up. So that's one thing. But also they got a true point guard now.
Yeah. They do got a true point guard.
They got a true point guard.
And that's a big time move for them.
Yeah.
Because now Marcus Carr can move over to the two guard.
Exactly.
Because he would get to the point where he would just be dribbling the whole time, and he wasn't being aggressive the way that he normally would play, like he played in the Big Ten. Now I think he's got some of that, and you got two guys that can bring the ball up the court. Yep. Those are big things for me too. And again, I keep saying it. If you get opportunities to run.
That's why I think having Tyrese Hunter's going to help too. I think he's going to push the rock a lot. And man, they got so much veteran experience. They're a veteran team. They got super seniors galore on this team.
Correct.
Marcus Carr is a super senior. Timmy Allen is a super senior. Hell, Christian Bishop super senior, and that may be a part of the starting group right there. But then you got Jabari Rice is going to be a senior. Dylan Dessou. Brock Cunningham, don't forget about him.
Brock could be in college for 12 years. I don't even know. That's my dude. I love me some Brock,
Chris Beard, he loves him some Brock, too. But there's a lot of excitement about this Texas basketball team, man, because you got a lot of talent coming back. You got a lot of experience, and the acquisitions you made, the infusion of talent was at key positions. Point guard, need somebody to push the rock for you. And even Dylan Mitchell. I've been hearing stuff about this freshman that he is a certified freak. Like explosive freak.
Yeah, I love it.
That may not be here for long.
Yep, that's just something we got to look at.
He wanted him.
You know, you got to look and see what it is. So you sit and you try to figure out what's going to be next for this team, and you got some players out there that might be able to help you and give you a better look as a team.
Yeah, no, I can't. I can't wait to watch this group, especially if they're going to be pushing the rock, forcing turnovers on defense, because we know that they play hellacious D. That's just part of the DNA of a Chris Beard team. But now them getting out in transition with all that athleticism they have now, I think it's going to be a really exciting product. So first Texas basketball game at the Mood. They call it the Mood?
It's the Mood.
Is there signs up saying it's the Mood?
There's sign that said Mood.
So McConaughey did this, didn't he?
They've been taking pictures in front of it. You know what I'm saying?
You know what?
Be in the mood, baby.
It's the Mood. All right, get in the mood. Yeah, you're right.
Get in the mood at the Mood.
Get in the mood. I'm going to the Mood tomorrow, actually. I'm going to see Chris Rock.
I am too.
I'm going to see Chris Rock tomorrow at the Mood.
Have you been to the Mood yet?
I went for just an event, but nothing was happening. Like it was a company, some company was hosting an event there.
Yeah.
But I haven't been for like a sporting event or like a music event or anything like that. So, all right, we're coming back. We got one more hour left. We'll get into NFL news, notes, and nuggets. Had an NFL head coach that was fired. Also, we got Cowboys discussion to get into, all that and more right here on Ball Don't Lie on 104.9 Horn. Hey, what's up, folks? Lifetime Longhorn Rod Babers here. Let me tell you about my friends over at Iron Workers Local 482. Now, we know that Austin is a beautiful city, thanks in no small part to the skilled craftsmanship of Iron Workers Local 482. You see the labors of the love all over this great city and iconic landmarks like DKR Stadium and the Pennybacker Bridge. They've been helping shape Greater Austin since 1935. And as the city continues to grow and thrive, so does Iron Workers Local Union 482. They don't go to the office, folks. They build it. And they've been building it for a long time. If you're looking for an exciting new career, you can become a member of the Iron Workers Local 482 and accept the challenge of becoming the best version of yourself while helping shape Austin's economic development. Iron Workers Local Union 482 are hiring 3,000 people right now for a big project, a huge project, and you can become a member of Iron Workers Local 482 and take pride in the type of teamwork and craftsmanship that helps shape the future of this great city. Maximize your potential and be your best self by applying at ironworkers482.org. That's ironworkers482.org. Welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. It is a Smooth Soul Monday. It is meant to soothe the tortured soul of sports fans whose team may have taken an L over the weekend. Man, I got to tell you, this has been a especially funky, soulful mix here for my man Patrick.
Dig it.
Shout out to Corey. He's taking over Patrick because Patrick is heading down, actually, to the mood.
To the mood.
Some people, I think Kevin Whitestone Brewery says absolutely hate the nickname Mood. I think you're not the only one. I think a lot of people they're not really happy with the Mood as a nickname. But until we come up with a better nickname, then
that's what we got to ride with.
We got to go with what the Minister of Culture said. But I think we can definitely come up with a better nickname than the Mood.
No doubt.
But I like the Mood. The Mood's not bad. It's not bad at all. Get in the mood. I kind of get it. So it's punny, if you will. Okay, well, I want to talk some Texans and some Cowboys here. But first, the big topic of discussion all the NFL is talking about is Frank Reich. He has been officially relieved of duty as the head coach of the Indianapolis Colts. I feel bad for my man Sam Ehlinger. Just got that starting quarterback job 3 weeks ago. And now, in that time span, he's lost his head coach, his coordinator, and his play caller.
So bad.
All three gone. And now the organization hiring Jeff Saturday. Yeah. That guy, Jeff Saturday, former center for the Colts, is now going to be the interim head coach for the Indianapolis Colts. Harj, is this move ill-advised, absurd? What is it?
I think the timing is awful, especially because you just gave this young kid the job, and now you don't have, and you were high on him.
You were high on him.
So now you putting him.
The owner was.
Now you put him in a no-win situation. The offensive line is playing absolutely horrendous football.
Hey, they brought in a lineman.
9 sacks.
Yeah.
9 sacks yesterday. Some of those he could have got rid of it because I was actually watching that game. There were some where he was just trying to make a play and holding on to the ball too much. He could have threw it away and lived to fight another day. But when he drops back and everybody's in the backfield like they were in the huddle, it's tough for him. And you fire his OC, and now you're sitting here telling me that his coach is going to be gone, who was a play caller? Now this kid has, and you're bringing a guy out of the stands?
I don't even know who the play caller is going to be. I don't know who his play caller is going to be.
Is he going to bring Peyton Manning in to be able to call plays?
That'd be an upgrade. That would be an upgrade. I mean, if they brought Peyton Manning in, that would be a serious upgrade.
or my man Dan Orlowski. You know what I'm saying? I'm just sitting here trying to figure out where the success story is going to be for Sam. This is not a good situation for him.
This is not, but he's still, first of all, Sam Ehlinger is unfortunately, all too accustomed to battling adversity in his life. Whether that been before his time at Texas, here at Texas, we watched him battle through it successfully, by the way. Mm-hmm. And even when he got to the NFL, unfortunately, he cannot escape adversity. It's always coming for Sam, and Sam's always been up to the task. Yep, you're right. They're setting the man up for failure.
Oh my
goodness. No question about it. And I don't see a lot of path to success for him with the Colts. Right now.
Right. He's putting some things on tape for himself.
That is my hope. That is my hope, is that his time with the Colts, whatever, how long it may be, and I think now it may be shorter because I think now the organization is pretty much mailing the rest of the season in, probably tanking for a draft pick for the rest of the season, and then deciding now that, they'll make decisions for the long-term future of the for the organization and for the franchise in the offseason, and those probably won't include Sam. And it's not because Sam has done anything, but because when you're starting over clean slate, which it seems like they're doing, hell, they may even go with a new GM. Well, it might be time there too
for Ballard to be gone.
I didn't say I like Ballard, and I like Frank Reich, by the way. Yeah. By the way, Frank Reich is not a bad football coach, by the way, people. The guy, his problem and his, like I said, his biggest weakness, or his Achilles heel, if you will, he never stabilized quarterback. You got to stabilize that position. If you don't stabilize quarterback and you leave it open to, musical chairs or this carousel of quarterbacks, it will be your downfall, and it was for Frank Reich. You got to make the playoffs 2 years. Should have made the playoffs in 3 years if Carson Wentz didn't lay an egg versus Jacksonville in the last game of the season.
I've ever seen him play.
So this guy making playoffs with quarterbacks. He's bringing in that year new culture with a new skill set, with the new system for those guys. This guy can coach. but the Kim Kardashian, Nicki Minaj, Serena Williams size, Cardi B size, Megan Thee Stallion size, but is if you do not stabilize quarterback, it will be your downfall. The quarterback position means something different for everybody. For fans, it's about hope. For the front office, it's about jersey sales and merchandising and the face of the franchise. For head coaches, it is about job security. If there is uncertainty at your quarterback position, then your uncertainty at your job status is sure to follow.
Yeah.
I guarantee you.
And it all changed when Andrew Luck left.
Yeah, it did.
Everything started to go downhill for Indianapolis after Andrew Luck walked away. You went and got Phillip Rivers. I call him Philip Ritlin because he's always spazzing out up there at the thing.
He might have been the best one they've had the group since
Right.
Right,
And
when you think about it.
And then you bring in Wentz. And by the way, you bringing in these people and you're paying
They
them.
had Brissett before that.
And you're having to pay a lot of money. Remember, I told you the quarterbacks and the money that was tied to them over the last few years and how much they were spending. It was a ridiculous amount of money, which made no sense. Because you still have to upgrade around these other positions to be successful. Like right now, you're sitting here looking at the fact that you're not going to have a quarterback there. Your running back is not going to play. He's still out, and he's your big-time player. You still don't know what you have in Michael Pittman. He's been trying to be their number one wide receiver. You're looking at the other guy. There's just so many things that need to be answered that can't be answered.
Yeah.
And you just ruin the front office because now you got a kid who's trying to learn. You got Nick Foles there. You still got Matt Ryan. Those two guys are professionals. Nick's a Super Bowl champion. Matt Ryan went to the Super Bowl. And they don't even want to play behind that line.
No.
I mean, you brought Matt Ryan in and paid a lot of money for it.
They can't play behind that line because they can't move.
They can't move. And I thought Sam was going to be able to move, but he got 9 sacks yesterday.
He's the only one that got a shot because the rest of them, their statues in their pocket, they got no chance.
Yeah, is. It's awful.
Yeah, it is. I feel bad for Sam, but Sam will endure. He will come out of it stronger. He always does. It just won't be with the Indianapolis Colts, in my opinion.
No.
One other thing, just as we're talking about the NFL here, I want to talk some Cowboys just for a second. Yep. Right now, it looks like the Cowboys, I just saw it on ESPN, so the story is still hot. The Cowboys did plan on acquiring a wide receiver by the trade deadline. It didn't work out. Remember, it was Brandon Cooks they wanted, or at least they tried to trade for Brandon Cooks from the Texans. Texans wanted the Cowboys to pay the $18 million salary, in addition to giving them a second and a fourth-round pick, which is just absurd. I don't know what.
My money.
Yeah, Nick Casario. Don't know I like Nick Casario as a GM, but that's a bad deal. And then we also read that the Cowboys offered a pick and tried to make a deal for Jerry Jeudy, and apparently the second-round asking price for Jerry Jeudy may have been a little too steep for the Cowboys as well. They were unwilling to pay that. But Jerry Jones has continued to hint that the Cowboys are up to something, that they're still going to make an upgrade, they're going to make an acquisition. Harge, you want desperately for that to be at wide receiver. Well, that's the good news. Reportedly, the Cowboys have interest in Odell Beckham Jr. Remember, after his ACL injury, he's been rehabbing. Ian Rappaport and Mike Garofalo both reported that Odell Beckham Jr. has been firmly in the Cowboys' sights and on their radar, and adding that the team has even done regular check-ins on his status and his injury, health and his rehab, and when his return may be, what the timeline's going to be. Jay Glazer is reporting that Odell Beckham Jr. could be medically cleared this week for action, or at least for practice.
Right.
And that would mean if the Cowboys need an upgraded wide receiver, Odell Beckham Jr. has expressed his interest in the Cowboys, if they would have interest in him. See that the Cowboys also have some interest in Odell Beckham Jr. What would hold this up, Harge? What could happen to stop this union of Odell Beckham Jr. and the Cowboys? Because it seems inevitable right now.
Jerry coming in and him and Steven talking about,
really?
I don't know if he's ready to go. I know he may be medically cleared, but he get cleared by our doctor.
You know what? They love their training staff. They trust their training staff.
But even then, how soon will he be ready to go?
That's a great question.
Because you got to go through the whole process.
Maybe for the playoffs?
Acclimate it.
Basically, as an impact player.
Right, but I mean, what's the chemistry going to be for Dak?
Well,
they're going to have to spend a lot of time on this practice field. Just like right now, the Ravens went out and got Deshaun Jackson. Deshaun Jackson to try to come in to be an impactful that Odell Beckham is going to pose a threat. But for me, it's going to be if Jerry, I know the conversation's there. Jerry's like keeping his name in the middle of the conversation.
Oh, yeah.
But is this something that they're going to pull the trigger for?
I think they are going to do it because I think they're seeing what the Rams did with him last year. Remember, he came in like midway through the season last season for the Rams. He only had like 27 receptions for 300 yards, maybe 5 touchdowns in the regular season. So it was nothing spectacular. Yep. He was just finding his groove. But in the playoffs, he found his groove.
Yeah, he did.
He
was going to be the MVP of the Super Bowl.
He was close. He had 25 receptions, 316 yards, had 2 touchdowns, including 1 in the Super Bowl. So you're right, Harge. I think the Cowboys if they get Odell, it's for the playoff push.
Yeah,
they know that toward the end of this season, they probably won't, have him as a true impact receiver. He'll just be learning the plays, getting chemistry, continuity with Dak. But once the playoffs hit, and I think the Cowboys are pretty sure now they're going to make the playoffs, right? So
no, you would think.
Yeah, and now they are still second, I think, in the NFC East, but still they got games against the Eagles, games against the Giants. Right now, the Cowboys control a lot of their own fate. This is a playoff team. I think we all agree with that, especially with the playoffs being expanded. So I think the Jonathan Hankins acquisition, like the time I said, that's not about this season. That is about the postseason. Yeah. The postseason, the Cowboys got to play all the best teams in the NFC, and all the best teams in the NFC can run the rock. San Fran can run the rock. Minnesota can run the rock. Philadelphia can run the rock. The Giants can run the rock. All the best teams in the NFC, they can run the rock. That's why they got Jonathan Hankins. Yeah. And I think part of the reason they're getting Odell Beckham Jr. is for the playoff push. They know that they can they can make it through the regular season right now and be a 11, 12-win team potentially, or a 10-win, something like that at the worst. But they're looking at the playoffs. In the playoffs, they're going to need another threat. They're going to go against really good defenses who may be able to take away their running game. And when they can only do that, though, by putting 8 in the box and stacking the box. But when they stack the box, you got to make them pay.
Yeah.
You make them pay for that one-on-one coverage on the outside. Odell can do that because he can win.
He's definitely that guy that can stretch the field and that's going to offset some of the things that CD is going through. CD is trying his best to become that number 1 wide receiver. He's had some games where it looked like they were trying to feature him, but he's definitely going to need a complimentary partner. I mean, every Batman has a Robin, and they got to be able to have that. Right now, it looks like the Dallas Cowboys are using the tight ends that. Now you got Pollard that's emerging. There's some numbers with Zeke, but the big-time plays, you don't have somebody that's stretching the field for you now. Look at every other team in the NFL that is making that push. Look what Justin Jefferson did yesterday for Minnesota. Look at what Tyreek Hill and Waddle have been doing with Tua. Yeah. I mean, those are the guys that are making those big-time plays, and that's what Dallas is looking for, somebody that's going to stretch that field. You need a home run hitter every once in a while, and Dallas hadn't been able to hit that home run on the deep throw yet.
Yeah, and I don't even know if Odell's a home run threat. Really?
I think he still got that. I think he still got that juice, man.
I don't know if he's got that kind of juice. I think the juice for him is more he's a savvy route runner that can create separation and get open. I don't see him as a home run hitter anymore. He's had too many injuries, and he's old now.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he's not a good receiver, but in terms of being a guy that can stretch the field for you, I don't see him as that. I'm sure he can do it, but I don't see him as that. I see him more as that guy that can create separation as a savvy route runner enough that he's a guy that you can use with the intermediate routes, and he can do still 30 yards after the catch too.
Yeah,
it's one of those. So, but I hope they pull the trigger. There are some Cowboys fans. I see one now. I'll double down on you that one. I guarantee doesn't pull the trigger. Yeah. So a lot of Cowboys fans don't think Jerry's going to do anything.
That's what I'm saying. He worries me. You ask me, what do you think? I'm like, Jerry might be the problem.
Yeah,
because he likes the conversation. He likes it.
That's true.
He likes it.
I know, but
he likes us being over there talking about it. We might go get this one. We've been working on this play. It wasn't about the trade. It wasn't about the trade. It was more about.
But you don't think that he believes they're closer now because of the way the NFL, how much parity there is in the NFL, that the NFC, even though the Eagles are undefeated, it does seem still up for grabs because the Eagles, although undefeated, they're not without flaws. Like they're
correct.
And the Cowboys, even with Cooper Rush, I mean, they were competitive with the Eagles. I think with Dak, they got a chance to beat the Eagles.
Right. So, and that's the only team that they're not favored against.
Yeah.
That's the only team that the Eagles aren't favored to win. The rest of the way is the game with the Cowboys.
I can see that.
That's
that
the
defense.
only one. Yeah, that's the only one.
But that rush defense still concerning.
It's still
but they
very
got Jonathan
concerning.
Hankins. Jonathan Hankins is a beast, though, with the rush defense. We'll get some stats on that tomorrow. Okay, real quick, I want to play this sound because this is Calvin Watkins.
Yep.
He was talking to Skip Pete, I believe is his name. That is the running backs coach.
Yeah, Rodney Pete's brother.
Yes.
Yep.
Skip Pete, the riding.
He's been around for a while with
long
the Cowboys.
time,
He's
yeah.
a long-time Cowboy running back coach.
Okay, yeah, his name has been around.
He's coached a lot of different positions in the NFL. So,
Okay.
but mostly at the running back position.
Well, he was talking recently to Calvin Watkins about Tony Pollard and his role and really the usage, right, that he has been getting lately, and whether they should increase the usage, should he get the ball more, should he play more snaps. It's interesting what Skip Pete had to say about Tony Pollard. Here it is. There you go. Look for the late, great Al Davis. I thought it was interesting hard at the beginning. He says, so don't expect the usage of Tony Pollard to go up. He says Tony Pollard came to him on the sideline and said, I'm done, coach. That's all I got. And even there he says, yeah, basically he's a race car. You know, he can go fast, for a short period of time. But after that, he's spent. He's done.
Yeah.
Compared Zeke to that sedan.
There you go.
That
old,
luxury
one. That luxury
you
sedan.
That thing go for 10, 12 years.
Yeah.
Hey, man, I guess, you know what? I kind of like that idea. I'm not opposed to them continuing to split the load and the burden of the carries and the usage and the snaps. But the Kim Kardashian, Nicki Minaj, Serena Williams size, Cardi B size, Megan Thee Stallion size. But for me would be, I would like more of the, what's the word I'm looking for? More of the sophisticated, more of your sophisticated play designs for Tony Pollard. Does that make sense? If you're a scheming,
sounds like we've had this conversation before.
If you're scheming something, I think you can scheme specific things for Tony Pollard to create opportunities for him in space. I don't know if you need to do that for Zeke.
Right.
And I'm not saying you shouldn't, but I'm saying I don't know if you need to. For Tony Pollard, I think you can almost scheme open breakaway plays for him. That's why, yes, they can still get the same amount of usage and snaps, but I would give Pollard specially designed plays.
For sure.
Does that make sense?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Because you need him to be that explosive type player because he can take it to the house.
So I'm not going to waste. I'm not saying I'm wasting Zeke's carries, but for Tony Pollard, I got to be even more judicious about when I'm giving him the rock.
Because we see what happens when he gets loose. He hits the hole and he's gone. So if you design a couple plays, maybe even a screenplay, something like that, where he can get to the house. That's what you want to do. But when you need those short yardage, don't use him for that.
Yes.
Bring Zeke in for that.
Yes.
That's what his role is going to be.
That's what I want.
So I think that's how they're going to design it anyway. I think that's what Skip was trying to allude to because of the fact that we know short yardage, they're going to give the ball to Zeke.
Yeah, no doubt.
And every once in a while, they'll sneak him in there, sneak Pollard in there because he's got that pop where he can take it to the house too. So
yeah, no, I'm with you on that. It's just because I listen to Jerry, and I know I shouldn't listen to Jerry as much, but I listen to Jerry, and Jerry actually favors Zeke as a rusher over Tony Pollard. And I'm nothing wrong with that, but Tony Pollard at this point is a more effective runner, and Jerry won't admit that. Because Jerry just loves him some Zeke, and of course he is paying Zeke like he loves some Zeke. But like I said, it's a tale as old as time. It's like the movie where the guy ignores the girl next door, and she's a nerdy girl who isn't cool and in the cool circles, and suddenly she removes her glasses and she lets her hair down, and instantly she transforms into the hottest girl in the movie. She's the late bloomer. That's Tony Pollard. And then she ends up being hotter than the it girl in the movie, the most popular girl in the movie. And that's Tony Pollard. And yet I don't think Jerry Jones has realized that the late bloomer has now surpassed the it girl as the hottest girl in the movie. Yeah, he didn't realize that yet, but that's just Jerry.
He's old, man.
He's old, I know.
He's old, man.
Jerry just setting his ways.
Yeah.
But
he's drawing inspiration from Dusty Baker. He thinks he's got a shot at it.
He's got no. Cowboys got a shot. Cowboys this year have got a shot. They legitimately got a shot. But like I said, just recognize that Tony Pollard is the home run. Certain guys move the chains, and certain guys change the game. Zeke used to be a guy that changed the game.
Yeah.
Now he's just a guy that moves the chains. And Tony Pollard is the guy that changes the game.
Yeah, but
that's different. And you need them both, by the way.
I was just
going
to say, that's why I said that's why we need both.
And you need a guy to change the game. You need them both.
That's
You ain't going to win without having both of those guys. My point, Jerry Jones, like I said, hey, the Bush family at one point, they thought Jeb was going to be the president and not George. They didn't think George was going to be the president. And turns out George ended up being president and not Jeb.
I didn't think George felt like he was going to be the president.
I don't think anybody thought George was going to. But George ended up getting it before Jeb, and everybody thought Jeb was going to be the next Bush to be president.
And Jeb's still trying to get in there.
Sometimes it just don't work out that way, all right? Same thing with Tony Pollard and Zeke. I know everybody thought Zeke was going to be the bell cow running back for years to come, paid him a big contract. He's going to be the guy. He ain't the guy, all right? He's Jeb, and Tony Pollard is George. We didn't think it would happen, but he's the president now. Well, at least he was.
I'm with you.
You get my point. All right, come back. We'll get into some other news, notes, and nuggets from around the NFL. We'll also get into the Monday Night Football preview. Ravens and Saints tonight. We'll give you our pick. All that and more right here on Ball Don't Lie. 104.9
Mike Harge here, and I want to talk about Kenneth Banks. Are you tired of your financial advisors just coming to you and say, hey, guys, I know it's rough out there. Let's just ride it out. When standing eye to eye with this market volatility, you need a financial advisor that won't tell you, hey, let's just ride it out. Instead, you want somebody to work alongside you and help you navigate through today's market. And that's my man, Kenneth Banks with Equitable Advisors Austin. Kenneth works with his clients as individuals, not dollars and stats. He wants to make sure that you understand what's going on with your money and try to find out what will be the best laid plan for you. And if you're trying to call your financial advisor, we all know it's tough for them to get back with you. Not with Kenneth Banks. Kenneth Banks will return your call within 24 hours. Talk to Ken today at 901-679-9157, and together you can plan your future that can help reflect who you are. Don't just ride it out with the other guys. Talk to my man, Kenneth Banks, at 901-679-9157. That's Kenneth Banks with Equitable Advisors Austin.
All right, welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. It is a Smooth Soul Monday. I want to get into some Monday Night Football conversation here because you do have the Saints and the Ravens playing tonight. We'll put that conversation on the shelf. And, of course, we'll talk about it tomorrow, what the result's going to be. But Harsh and I were talking at the break, and Harsh wants to get into this SMU U of H game.
I mean,
which was the highest scoring game in FBS history. It was amazing.
The over-under was 66 points.
Houston won 77-63. No, sorry, SMU won 77-63. Yeah, that was the end result.
Tanner Mordecai set a school and American Athletic Conference record with 9 touchdowns and an NCAA record tying 7 coming in the first half.
Didn't he only have like 10 incompletions?
He was 28 of no. He only had 9.
9 incompletions.
He had the same amount of touchdowns as his completions.
I knew it was some freaky stat like that.
Yeah.
He had some weird, crazy stat.
Yeah, he was
that.
28 of 37 for 379. But that ain't even the best. I mean, the 9 TDs. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. I'm looking at Clayton Tune, the quarterback for University of Houston.
Mm-hmm.
He was 36 of 53, 527 yards passing, 7 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. But hold up. Let me give you a little bit more. He had 12 rushes for 111 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah, I cannot believe that this game had 20 touchdowns total.
20 touchdowns.
20 touchdowns.
By halftime, the over-under was smashed.
Yeah. No, I mean
SMU scored 35 points in the second quarter.
Clayton Tune and Tanner Mordecai's 16 touchdown passes are combined are all divisions NCAA records.
Yes.
And yeah, basically you're talking about the greatest shootout in college football history.
Greatest shootout in college football.
I bet it was fun to watch, fun to be there. Witness
man,
this.
if you love offense, this is the game you need to go back and rewatch because you get to see it all.
If I was a defensive coordinator, honestly, for either one of these teams, I wouldn't even watch the film. I wouldn't watch the video.
There's nothing to see here.
There's nothing good.
There's nothing
what am I
to
gonna
see
say?
here.
What was good? I know there actually were some defensive plays that were made because you're right, there was some turnovers for us.
Yeah.
But you should take no pride in that, gentlemen. I would tell them, man, y'all flush that.
Don't
that
even
game
think about it.
Never happened.
Nope.
Okay? Act like it never happened. Flush it. We are better than that. I'm not going to allow y'all to review it. I don't even want that to seep into your subconscious. You're better than that. I'm better than that. That game never happened. We're moving on. I don't even want to see anything resembling that performance ever again from any one of you guys. And from me, by the way. I'm a defensive coordinator, so I'd be looking at myself in the mirror saying, I am a abject failure. Big L for me.
Big
Matter of fact, call me Big L. All right, around the office for the next week. I'm Big L. I take a big loss there, fellas. Okay, and I'll take that.
Fired tomorrow because
exactly.
of y'all.
But we're not watching that. Hell no, we're not watching that.
So here's the interesting thing. As I said, there's 1,300 yards of offense between the two teams. For SMU, with the 9 touchdowns by Tanner Mordecai, they only had 1 wide receiver that went over 100 yards.
Ooh, so everybody got in on it.
They shared the ball.
That's fun.
But in the contrast, you go over to U of H. They had 3 wide receivers. One had 180, one had 136, and another one had 105 yards receiving. But SMU, they spread the love throughout the squad.
Yeah, that's crazy. I can't believe that. That's a wild story. I guess since we're staying in college, you might as well just stick with it. What other college football outcome shocked you? Clemson, Notre Dame?
Well, no, the game with Alabama.
Really?
Alabama and LSU.
I know you picked Tennessee, but you can Alabama and LSU. Okay, Alabama
yeah,
LSU.
where
okay.
we were playing in a fundraiser golf tournament today, and his parents have season tickets there for LSU. He's had them for over 50 years.
Yeah.
He said his dad was crying like he couldn't believe that happened, and everybody rushed the field. And they said everybody was on the field within 15 seconds. That's how fast the field got.
They rushed
it that fast. But he said his father was so impressed. And he's been through a lot of games. Like I said, 50 years. He said probably that was the biggest game and the biggest win that they had seen there in a long time. And they've got national
Really?
championships.
I was gonna say.
Yeah.
Well, probably because they just didn't expect it.
Right.
It was unexpected.
Yeah, the dad took.
That's why. When they have good teams, they expect to win.
yeah.
But honestly, the team
But this
year
is a good team. They
it
weren't
is.
expecting
exactly. They did not. LSU did not expect to be good this year. They were
Right.
talking trash on this team. They were talking trash on Brian Kelly,
Yeah.
and they figured out kind of halfway through this season. Oh, Brian Kelly's a hell of a coach. Yeah, no shucks, Sherlock.
Yeah,
he's been a
and check
damn
this-
good coach for a long time.
And remember, his biggest thing was he didn't, when he was coaching at Notre Dame, he couldn't go get the players he wanted.
Yep.
Because of the academic requirements. When he got into the SEC and he got with LSU, he's like, and he's just getting started
Just
there.
so he's like, I got more talent here than I had at Notre Dame.
And his biggest acquisition was his quarterback.
Yeah,
His quarterback coming in. And that has been the biggest change for him. And so just wait until he can get on the same level as far as recruiting. But they did an excellent job. And so that was a big, big win. I picked them. Remember I told you I'd already placed
Yeah, you
the
did.
bet. I was like, man, I have a feeling that they are going to beat them because we've seen Alabama skate
flawed.
by. We've
They have
seen
been
them
flawed.
skate by
They
a
have.
lot of games.
I thought they were going to skate by again, though. Because
Right.
they're a better team than LSU. But LSU, man,
Right.
they're getting better every week, and they were coached up really well. And let's give Brian Kelly props, man. He's a hell of a ball coach.
Yep.
That 2-point conversion.
Yeah. I'm
It
going
took
for it.
scones
And-
inside the smart cars.
And that was a play
Yeah.
that we have seen a million times.
Man,
and nobody can stop it.
offensive players, they call it a rub route. Trust me, it's a pick route.
Yeah.
It should be
Yeah.
legal, but it is what it is, man.
Yep.
And you're right. That's a tale as old as time.
That's right.
And they run that play at every level of football, and I swear it works 80% of the time.
And it's right there on the goal line, and that's when they run it.
Right, yeah.
That's everybody's 2-point conversion.
It is, and
play.
it works. Like I said, it works probably 80% of the time, and you
exactly.
know it's coming.
You see it.
You see
saw
it. You
set
see it
up.
every time. You're like, oh man, they're gonna run a pick route or a
for
rub
sure.
route.
For sure.
Yeah.
And the kid is like falling down, and
Yeah.
the refs are like, "Oh no, nothing here.
Nothing here." And
No
I'm like,
flag."
I don't think-
I'm like, they're picking
It's
every
very
time.
rare. How was the last time you seen them call moving pick or whatever, basically, or pass interference on offense with that play?
Very rare.
I would say they call it maybe 5% of the time.
Very rare.
So if you're an offense, you better be running pick routes and rub routes. I always say that the rub route is to pick route as the tax avoidance is to tax evasion.
Right.
Right? They're basically the same damn thing, but
It's just how you
one's
word it.
legal and one ain't.
Yeah.
It's how you word it.
It's how
Exactly. If
you
you get
word it.
caught or
That's
not.
right,
Yeah,
right.
it's tax evasion if you got caught. But tax avoidance, actually, that's something. That's a skill. To avoid taxes is a
Absolutely.
skill. Yeah, no, you'll have an actual, there'll be CPS say, I specialize in tax avoidance. And like,
Yep.
you can say that? Oh, yeah, that's not illegal. Tax evasion is illegal. Avoidance, perfectly legal.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right, we come back. We'll get we'll get you our thoughts on the rest of the Monday Night Football game happening tonight, and also we'll let you know what's on tap for us. All that and more right here on Ball Don't Lie, 104 on the Horn. Hey, what's up, folks? Lifetime Longhorn Rod Babers here. Let me tell you about Bud Light. It is Monday, and you know a lot of you out there got a case of the Mondays right now. Best way to get rid of a case of the Mondays is with a case of nice ice cold Bud Light. That's right, folks. Make sure tonight when you're enjoying your Monday night football that you're enjoying it with Bud Light. Nothing goes better with football than Bud Light, America's favorite game and America's favorite beer, folks. That is a championship tag team. So when you're enjoying your Monday night football, make sure you do it with Bud Light. But also remember that you can enjoy Bud Light for any day of the week, for anything at all. That's why it's the perfect tailgating beverage. It's the perfect beer to turn your good times into great times and the rest of the times into the best of times. And that's why Bud Light is the world's favorite light beer, because it fits any and every occasion. So remember, folks, to enjoy your Bud Light, make sure you do it responsibly. Bud Light, brewed deep in the heart of Texas since 1982 by Texans for Texans, and proud of it. All right, welcome back to Ball Don't Lie. Time to wrap it up and put it in the oven. Before we do, we'll let you know what's on tap. If you missed any part of any of the shows, please go to hornfm.com and catch up with them on the podcast page. What's on tap for you tonight, Harch?
I'm watching basketball and I'm watching football. So I'll be making sure I'm checking that out, watching the Texas Longhorns.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
UTEP.
Oh, that's on Longhorn Network,
It's on
I believe,
Longhorn
right?
Network, and if I'll just turn off Longhorn Network and listen to my man Craig Way break it down.
Damn right. That's
how
the
we
best
do
way
it.
to do it. Who you got in the game tonight? I think I'm Ravens.
I got the Ravens.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
Andy
pretty
Dalton
decent.
is the starting quarterback for.
Oh.
And his against the spread, he's not very good.
And in prime time, it's
And
not
it's
very good either.
that bing, bing.
Yeah.
Double jeopardy
I'm
right
with
there.
Double jeopardy. I'm going home and watching me some TCU.
Yeah.
So I think Texas got a good chance to beat TCU. It won't be easy.
No.
But they got a good shot at home to pull off the upset. So I'm gonna continue breaking down exactly how Texas can do that. So I'm watching TCU film tonight.
Yeah, I got some of that action too.
Yeah, so I'll watch a little bit of Monday Night Football, and I'll probably go watch some Texas. I'll DVR the game. Maybe I'll watch it tomorrow or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're going to beat the hell out of UTEP.
I hope so.
Isn't it a 22-point line?
I hope so.
Put your money where your mouth
Yeah.
is.
Show you
all
right.
I want to thank my man Patrick. Thank Corey for doing a great job. Thank my man Harich as always. And thank you, more importantly, for joining the show. Remember, the revolution will not be televised. We'll talk about it right here on Ball Don't Lie. We love you guys. We mean that. Take care of yourselves, but more importantly, take care of each other. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Peace.